yeah, how did those work? Because I saw there was like a walkie-talkie kind of like slot in like the backpack or something. And I'm like, is that a real thing? That would be so cool.
Hello, hello. I am. Just want to pull up the comments on my phone so I'd be sure that I have those. I had just noticed that it was 1 o'clock because I got distracted.
Oh, it is 1 o'clock.
My partner is going to also be playing her own games in the background.
Me, I'm vibing.
So you might hear her from time to time. Or all the time. It's all good.
Not too annoying.
It's okay, you are loved. Speaking of love, we are watching 2 femboys fall in love today. We are going to be playing Starry Flowers by Nom Nom Nami on Itch.io. Itch.io?
Yeah,
Itch.io.
I say Itch.io.
Yeah. Right now I've got the options up so I can see what's up with the volume and stuff. And I think that's good. Let's just make sure I can get the comments on my phone. I really like the music that's going on in here. Doom, 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 doom. There we go. There's comments. I see them now.
Ooh, water tower. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay, so then let's just go ahead and start. Ooh, okay, already a voice line. Do I want to do voice acting in this? Lena, do I want to change my voice? Ooh, I might be blocking text with my body like that as well. So let's move me down a little bit. There we go. There we go.
I do think it'd be cute if you did voices, but I don't think you have to if illustrate.
I think I want to. It'll be
Okay,
good.
that sounds fun.
So Periwinkle. I have read a little bit about this game before. Periwinkle is the confident one. You can tell because he wears blue.
That would be so fun, actually.
And so it's like, and so it's, okay. So he says, hello, and welcome to the deliciously romantic tale of my first love. There's just one thing before we begin. I can grant you the power to choose my accessories at various points in the story. I'm being very gracious to offer such a thing, you know. If you use it, you had better make me look as adorable as possible. This little feature has no effect on the story otherwise. It's simply for your entertainment, should you wish for it. Yes, let's accessorize. Without further ado, let's get ready for my first date with Pastille. Oh, yay. Let's see here. Ooh, light earrings, light choker, dark choker, flower choker. Okay, so blue. Okay, that's the bottom things here. Ooh, kitty tail. Lovely hearts, angel wings, demon wings. Ooh, and these are top things. Oh, there's so many cute things for him to wear. Cat ears, royal crown, flower crown, blue ribbons. I'm biased, so I'm gonna start off with the cat things. Cat ears, cat tail. Yeah. Let's start him off with Chapter 1, First Date. Yay! Today, I met a boy at a candy shop. The moment I saw him, I just knew I couldn't leave without flirting a little. He was so delightfully flustered, which of course only made him that much cuter. When I told him to meet me here, he could only manage to nod in response. So cute. Ah, my favorite type to pursue. Ah, there he is now. Oh. Hey, I hope I didn't keep you waiting too long. Pastille, look at you. And here I thought you looked plenty good in that uniform. My heart was unprepared. Sorry, is it too much? I can change. But I haven't even fully seen what's under that cloak of yours. It'd be a waste to change prematurely. Right, forget it then. Besides, it'll be my pleasure to unwrap you later on, my sweet. Ah, now, shall we head to dinner? Oh, okay, lead the way. I truly didn't expect it. He definitely seemed the type to have a more modest sense of style. Thigh highs with such a short skirt, or was it a dress? I only briefly glimpsed it. I'm quite looking forward to seeing more tonight. The restaurant I decided on is one in my usual rotation, good for a quiet, comfortable evening. For a variety of dates, you must have a variety of locations in mind. Tonight's mood is romantic rendezvous. It's a little high-end, though not overtly so, just enough to make the night feel special. Pastille slides into the booth, following Periwinkle's lead. One hand holds his mantle in place, while the other brushes his bangs aside anxiously. Is this your first time? Huh? Coming here, I mean. What did I think I was asking? Nothing. I've never been here before. It seems fancy. I'm a fan of the atmosphere. The food isn't bad either. Now let's get a few formalities out of the way, shall we? First and foremost, your pronouns? Oh, I just use he, him. What about you? The same, though I don't necessarily mind being called by others, especially considering my presentation. Understandable. Oh yes, so good, such good gay loves. Next, expectations. I consider clarity in this regard to be a key part in ensuring we both enjoy ourselves to the fullest. I do this sort of thing often, you see. As such, I have a couple ground rules to establish. Sure, I'm actually glad you brought it up. Oh? I'm not looking for anything serious. In fact, I kind of prefer when it's just a one-night thing. We are on the very same page then. Not that I'd mind if, we end up wanting to do this again some other time. That's quite likely for me in this case. Certainly, I'm open to that as well. Do you have any other ground rules? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Are you nervous? Yes. You can tell me to stop if you're ever feeling too overwhelmed. That's the other rule. I like feeling overwhelmed to an extent. I had assumed as much, but to hear you admit it outright. Pastille. In that case, I'll do my best to overwhelm you, my sweet. Yes, this was shaping up to be a wonderful night indeed. The waiter came to take our order. I went first to give my sweet date a chance to compose himself. With our food ordered, Pastille suddenly drops his mantle to reveal, oh my, so it was a cute little dress after all. Oh, and here I thought you were saving the surprise for after dinner. Sorry, I started feeling awkward with the extra layer. Don't apologize. My only lament is not getting to take it off you myself. You'll save the last few layers for me, won't you? That's all that matters, then. I'm having the time of my life, and by the looks of it, so is Pastille. I live to tease Q's witch boys. How fortunate that I came across the sweetest one today. Our food arrives before Pastille is able to recover. He can't even look the waiter in the eye. How adorable. No, I mustn't overindulge before we've even eaten our meal. There will be plenty of time after dessert. Pastille takes a few bites of his food before speaking up. Periwinkle, what do you do for a living? Besides tease you until you're barely able to speak. Yes, besides that. My line of work, then. I suppose I can tell you. I'm an arrow magician. I specialize in creating pleasant scents. Periwinkle tugs his wand out from his sleeve and lightly taps the candle on the table. In a small burst, the atmosphere shifts around the pair. The candle's aroma is quickly forgotten as it's replaced by something new and cozier. Oh, that is nice. What smell is that? I'm no good at pinpointing stuff like this. Vanilla. I thought it suited you. Although, I'm starting to think a more lustful scent might have been a better fit. What does that even mean? It's just that you've done nothing but exceed my expectations. I'm not doing anything. Pastille retreats behind his glass of water, overwhelmed by embarrassment once again. I did say I'd go a little easy on him, didn't I? He's just too irresistible. Anywho, I bottle and sell scents like this one. It's fairly lucrative work once you build a reputation for yourself. Ah, it sounds fulfilling. What about you, Pastille? What kind of magic do you specialize in? Oh, I had mostly been living without magic until recently. Without magic? I can't imagine. It's not so bad. I mean, humans do it, so why not? I suppose that's true. I rarely directly make a living off of mine, so I'd find myself in quite a bind if I wasn't able to use it. Not that I mind being bound from time to time, you know. How do you keep doing that? Every time I think we're talking about something innocent. I just can't help myself, can I?
Wait, really?
Deliberate word choice, my sweet. Would you like me to hold back a little more? No, it's okay. I was just kinda impressed. We finish up our meals, decide on sharing a slice of strawberry cheesecake for dessert. Pastille deliberately leaves the larger bits of strawberries for me. I wonder, is it because he doesn't like them, or is he just that kind? Either way, this has quickly become my most favorite date of the past few months. Tell me more about yourself, Pastille. I'm afraid the only thing I know about you is that you work at the renowned Atelier Sweets. Oh, there's not much else to know. Surely there's plenty more than just that. Any hobbies, perhaps? Cleaning, maybe? Any non-work related hobbies, dear? Sorry, I never know how to answer these types of questions. My best friend is an alchemist, so I've recently been going on little adventures to help gather ingredients for her craft. Now there's something interesting. Other than that, I honestly don't get out much. I have my hands full running the store. So diligent. Does that mean this is your first night out in a while? Yeah, I guess it is. I'm honored you are willing to share it with me then. Yeah, I don't think I ever would have tried this place if you hadn't brought me in. So it's been worth it so far. Thanks, Periwinkle.
Food is for chumps.
The table had long been cleared, and yet our conversation continued through the night. This place is never too busy, which always leaves me feel free to linger here without the guilt of taking up any much-needed table space. The longer the date, the more satisfying the finale. That's something I live by. Rushing straight to the climax inevitably gets a bit dull for the while. I want to enjoy this night to its fullest. Pastille, do you see that witch at the table over there? Don't be too obvious now. The one with the tall hat, you see. Yeah, I see them. I brought them here about 2 weeks ago. I guess they agreed it made a nice date spot. The guy sitting across from them, I'm pretty sure I've been with him before. No, surely you're joking, Pastille. Shh, don't say my name so loudly. Just keep your head low. I'm sure he won't notice. Oh, he just looked this way. Ah! Only kidding. Perry. Oh, a nickname already? We're moving so fast. You're the one who's been calling me my sweet all night. Well, you are, aren't you? Whose fault is it that you share a name with Candy? Not mine. Still, you think those two make a good couple? How should I know? Just imagine the kind of person I'd go on a date with, and pair them with the other. And what kind of person is that? You, for one. Pfft, maybe they wouldn't be so good together. My, am I supposed to take offense to that? Nah, that guy was just kind of pushy. You're too much, Pastille. We eventually made our way out of the restaurant that night. It had gotten quite late already. When's the last time I stayed until closing? There was never a moment of awkward silence between us, only Pastille's embarrassed pauses, clear attempts to steer his mind away from debauchery. As we wander back into the night air, he's the first to speak up again. You could have at least let me cover the tip. Nonsense. I'm the one who asked you out tonight. You don't have to cover a thing. In fact, I'd prefer it if you didn't cover. Okay, I saw that one coming this time. You don't have to say it. Too easy, But really, it's a shame to hide such a cute outfit from the world. I don't have the confidence. Reminds me of my youth. You'll get there, my sweet. One day, you'll be able to toss aside any feelings of inadequacy and wear all sorts of daring outfits with pride. No, it's not a matter of self-esteem or anything. It's just, if anyone I knew saw me in this, I would die.
Oh, that's so cute.
So that's how it is, I've been treated to a more intimate side of this witch boy right now. We walk together under the streetlights until we reach our original meeting place. Would you like me to escort you home? No, that's okay. Then, if you don't mind, my place is just down the street. Perhaps you'd like to accompany me? Yes, I mean, I wouldn't want you to have to walk alone in the dark. Such a gentleman. Periwinkle expertly slides his hand up and under Pastille's mantle, linking arms as they go along. They walk in comfortable silence towards Periwinkle's house. Well, this is me. I had a most lovely evening. Thank you for accompanying me to dinner tonight. I had fun too. Thanks for inviting me out. Pastille fidgets as if he has something to ask but can't find the words. Pastille. Periwinkle takes a step closer. Yes? He leans in, pausing for any sort of reaction, only for Pastille's lips to come clumsily crashing forward. He's in more of a rush than I thought. Then again, I did spend all night winding him up. So cute. Pastille, I just remembered. Since we're here, would you like to come in and sample some of my magic? I'd like that, yes. Very well then. We both knew from the beginning that he would be staying the night, of course. It's just so much more fun drawing it out like this. But if that kiss is any indication of things to come, I may have gone a little overboard tonight. If so, we're in for quite a sleepover. Sorry about the mess. I just haven't found the time to tidy up. The door closes loudly behind them. When Pastille doesn't respond, Periwinkle turns back to face him. Oh! Pastille's back is against the door as he fumbles to untie his mantle. He's completely run out of patience, hasn't he? Then I'm simply afraid I simply have no choice but to indulge him. I can't keep you waiting a second longer, now should I? But I still need to change into something a little easier to take off. Looking this good comes at a price, you see. I promise I won't keep you waiting. Okay. Periwinkle gives him another peck on the lips and leads him through the cluttered living room to his bedroom door. Oh, so cute. Oh my god. It took me ages to get out of bed that morning. After all, I just couldn't stop thinking about how absolutely adorable Pastille was. He scrambled out of there almost as soon as he woke up, saying he couldn't be late for work. Such a shame. Would have been nice to get one last round in. I did get a kiss goodbye, though. It's nice to feel like a housewife for a moment. But I should get to work, too. I have an order to fill, don't I? Periwinkle finally rolls out of bed and gets ready for the day. The order in question is for a nearby apothecary. Did you know? Aromagic is like mine is actually quite good for you. It's got nothing on actual healing magic, but the calming atmosphere it creates does wonders for one's mood. This particular batch is meant to help with insomnia, which is iconic, considering how late I stayed up with Pastille. Whoops! Can't getting distracted now. I really need to finish up these last few bottles. I keep stumbling over my words, but that's okay. Periwinkle closes his eyes and draws his wand. Large drops form at its tip, falling into the empty bottle one by one. With each drip, the bottle's contents swell, and after only the 5th drop, it's completely filled. Perfect. It's so much easier to finish these with a clear mind. I can't help it if a refreshing night out is the only way to regain my focus. Although, I probably could have gotten one out of these done last night if Pastille hadn't been so impatient. No, I mustn't let my mind wander too far from work now. Periwinkle fills the remaining bottles, screwing the lids on as he goes. There. Now my house is going to smell like lavender. I'd better head out before I'm lulled to sleep by my own magic. Yay, accessorizing again. I would like the chokers more if they weren't so hidden by his dress. I like the hearts. The hearts match the little pink flowers in the flower crown. So I'm going to go with this outfit today. The apothecary is only a short walk away, but I've never managed to walk in its doors on time. Perhaps because it's so close, I always underestimate the time it takes to reach it. I can hear the owner tapping her foot with impatience as soon as I open the door. Astragalus, I have that special order ready for you. Oh, now I need to come up with a voice for her, too. You're late again, Periwinkle. Lost track of time. You'll forgive me, won't you? You are literally my only provider who has no respect for appointments. That's simply not true. I never miss a date. There's the problem. You were getting late again, weren't you? How vulgar. I had a romantic evening with a very cute boy, who then ended up sleeping over. Well, you had all week to fill the order. Try getting it done in advance next time. Yes, ma'am. Now let's see what you've brought. I worked with Astragalus for Astragalus for a few years now. She's completely immune to my charms, shocking to say the least. But it's meant we've been able to remain good friends all this time. Or, let's see. Astragalus, would you consider us to be good friends? I put up with you. My, but you don't put up with anyone. You must really like me. You got a favor to ask or something? Is that what you're getting at? No, I was just thinking of how to categorize our relationship. Business associate works just fine, doesn't it? Come now, surely you consider us to be closer than that. I know better than to get involved with you, Periwinkle. Why, whatever do you mean? You're too dazzling. I take that as a compliment. Great. Now will you stop distracting me? I'm trying to count. Yes, we're definitely good friends. Too dazzling, though, I'm not sure is such a thing. And what would be wrong with it if there was? What point is there in not shining as brightly as one can? Astragalus finished counting the bottles, sighing in feigned exasperation as she marks them off her checklist. You may always be late, but you deliver quality every time. You're consistent, if nothing else. The waiting is part of the fun. It builds excitement, wouldn't you say? Nope, it just builds frustration for me, but at least you always come through. She unlocks a small drawer behind the counter and takes out an envelope with Periwinkle's name scribbled on it. Here's the rest of your payment. Don't spend it all in one place. Oh, I couldn't if I tried. Really, you're too generous. Astragalus rolls her eyes and begins stocking the shelves with her new inventory. 2 or 3 orders a month. That's all it takes is to support myself entirely through this apothecary. Hard to believe my magic is really worth so much, but who am I to complain? It's certainly a more favorable balance compared to the kind of work I was doing years ago. And I do enjoy the freedom, the excessive amounts of time I have for partying, for dates. On that note, with all the business out of the way, would you like to hear about my date? Would I like to? Not necessarily. Please, Astragalus, as someone with no romance in your own life, at least you can do is live vicariously through me. There's no romance thing is by choice. I listen to you gush for your own damn sake. For my sake? Yes, I'm afraid you might actually implode if you have no one to talk to about this stuff. I'm actually making a noble sacrifice every day you come in here with new tales of romantic conquest. If you're truly suffering, I shall desist. That's the thing, though. I do like seeing you all worked up over something, even if I don't understand it myself. So there is a mutual benefit. You'll listen then? Yeah, at least until I get this all put away. After that, I'm kicking you out for the day. Fair enough. I'd better be brief then. He's the absolute cutest thing. I picked him up at the candy shop yesterday. Fluffy pink hair, golden eyes, naturally rosy cheeks that make him look as if he's always a little embarrassed by something. He's shy, but not the type that becomes paralyzed in the bedroom. Periwinkle, for the last time, I do not need to hear about bedroom stuff. I wasn't giving any details, although the details are the best part. This is a safe for work zone only. Break that rule and you're out of here. My apologies. I'll refrain. Anyway, my point is, he's extremely cute. Adorable, in fact. Right, so standard fare for you. Absolutely not. If he was just your average cutie, would I be emphasizing his cuteness so much? I don't meet with these people, so it's all the same to me. How can it be? The intensity is so drastically different, perhaps so intense that I'm having trouble explaining it properly. I'll say, all you've really told me so far is that he's cute and shy. He's kind as well. He saved the best part of our dessert for me without even asking. Wow, I would have led with that one. Oh, enough of your sarcasm. When all my favorite details are off limits, what do you suppose I'm left with? Well, what really matters is that you had a good night, even if it meant you couldn't get here on time like I asked. I'm already hoping to see him again, to be honest. Oh yeah? Don't hear that from you very often. Really? But I've gone on second dates all the time. This guy got a name? I don't kiss and tell. No, actually, you tell me about everyone you kiss. Come on, if he's really the absolute cutest, it's a shame to keep him anonymous, right? Not like I'm gonna tell anyone anyways. Fine. His name is Pastille. Even his name's cute. Right? Oh, that reminds me. He sold me some candies that share his name. Would you like to try? Sure. How could a rich turn down free candy? Periwinkle digs into his bag and pulls out one of the pastilles. He hands the candy to Astragalus, who promptly unwraps it and pops it in her mouth. Oomph. Oh, these are good. Where'd you say this candy shop was? Not far from here. I'll give you directions. Shortly after telling Astragalus where to find Atelier Sweets, she unceremoniously kicked me out. She'd long finished putting away all those bottles, after all. With money in my pocket and no more work to be done for the moment, I'm free to begin pursuing my next date. Yeah. But wherever shall I go? It's a weekday. Too early for parties, too early for drinks. I suppose I could return home and straighten up the place. However, why would I busy myself with chores when I could be celebrating another order successfully filled? Before Periwinkle can decide on where to go, a familiar witch approaches him. Oh, another character. Periwinkle! Oh, Cassia, so lovely to see you. Yay! I'm so glad we ran into each other. How to describe Cassia? She's exceedingly cuddly. We met at a party one night. during which she latched onto my arm and never let go. Quite endearing. Since then, we've gone on little dates from time to time. She really loves my magic, so I tend to spoil her whenever we're together.
Oh, yeah.
Did you need something, dear?
Go cook on some bits.
Yes! I tried coming over last night, but you didn't seem to be home. Oh, you came to visit me? I'm flattered. I must have been out to dinner at that time. I'm sorry I missed you. Oh, that's okay. I was mostly looking to talk. So, if you're available right now, do you want to go to a cafe? That sounds perfect. I would love to. We take our seats at the nearby cafe. It's a pleasant, sunny little place. I've come here often with all sorts of other witches. Cassia orders her usual hot chocolate with extra marshmallows, while I decide on a simple rose tea. Oh, Periwinkle, could you make my marshmallows smell like roses too? With pleasure. Periwinkle's wand drops from his sleeve, and he gives Cassia's cup a quick little tap. Yay! It really smells just like roses. Just as you asked, dear. It may slightly affect the taste, so let me know if you'd like the spell undone. Cassia dips the spoon in and lifts a marshmallow to her lips, blowing on it lightly before popping it into her mouth. No, it's wonderful! She can truly find the joy in any little moment. Such a delight. Definitely a contender for the absolute cutest witch, though I would call her absolutely cute, rather than the absolute cutest. It takes more than cuteness alone to earn the title of absolute cutest witch. That's where the difference lies, of course. But what am I thinking? How rude it is to begin ranking my dates in such a way. I must be stuck on the thought from my earlier conversation from Astragalus, trying to put Pastile's cuteness into words. He really is something special. Oh, it's all in the contrast. His polite, well-mannered, and proper exterior, concealing such intense desire, begging you to make the first move, and then going ahead and taking it on his own as soon as you. Enough of that. Now, there's someone else in front of me right now, isn't there? Cassia continues happily sipping her hot chocolate before speaking up again. I missed you, Periwinkle. I've been so busy with packing, I haven't had a chance to see you at all. Packing? And just where are you headed off to? Oh, that's right. I never had the chance to tell you. I'm finally moving in with my partners. In 2 more days, the 3 of us will all be sleeping in the same bed. Oh, that sounds cozy. Congratulations. Thank you. I've looked forward to it for so long. It sounds like you're about to enter a lovely domestic life. You deserve it. I'm really happy. But speaking of partners, you've still never even met them. True, but I can imagine they're wonderful just from how you've talked about them. Right, but what if you didn't have to imagine? That's what I've been wanting to talk about. I was hoping we might all be able to go on a group date sometime. Oh? Yeah, because I just think you're so wonderful, Periwinkle. I want them to know you too. Sounds like fun. I'm a bit... Wait, before you say no, they're both very easygoing and so loving and nice. I can promise it won't be overwhelming. That unfortunately isn't where my issue lies, my dear. I know you said you didn't want to get involved before, but I just know that we would all get along so well. I'd like to reassure you however I can, but I understand if you still turn me down. Matters of love are so tricky, aren't they? I still recall the first time something like this was asked of me. I had been nervous going in, but I'd also never entered a group situation before. I attributed my anxiety solely to that. However, it quickly became clear that I just wasn't suited to it at all. I do love to spoil each of my partners, but strictly one at a time. Perhaps I was left scarred by the breakdown in communication, the passionate fires of a long-established romance. Surely Cassia and her partners are magnificent people. It may indeed be fun for a night, but becoming entangled in committed relationships is something I've always avoided from the beginning, isn't it? This is all very sweet of you, but I do have to decline. Aw, I can't help but feel a little broken-hearted. I apologize. Truly, it's nothing personal. Oh, I know. I don't take offense or anything. It's just sad. And now I'm going to be living with them, and knowing you don't want to meet them. I think it's best we just break things off. Yes, I agree. As you said, it's for the best. I hope we can still be friends, though. Of course. I'm sure our paths will cross every now and again. Yeah, thank you for always treating me so well, Periwinkle. It was my pleasure.
Aw.
Hold on, is my face cam? Yeah, okay. Even casual relationships can end in breakups like this. That is largely why I pretend to prefer one-night affairs. Things can just become so messy as needs evolve. As Cassie and I go our separate ways, I can't help feeling a little blue. Perhaps I'll return home for the day after all. Periwinkle quickly changes into something more comfortable, dropping his bag unceremoniously onto the couch. I could use an afternoon nap. Yes, that's precisely what I need. I'll wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go back out on the town. He shoves some blankets aside and collapses onto the couch, and when he does, the contents of his bag spills onto the floor. Oh, lazily leaning over to gather it up, he notices the candies from before. Was I too hasty in saying I had hoped to see Pastille again? I suppose I'd forgotten the feeling of not being enough for someone. Usually these things tend to dissipate naturally without confrontation or notice. So when they don't, it stings.
That would be so badass.
Periwinkle scoops up the candies, dropping all but one of them back into his bag. He settles into a place on the couch, nestled in a tangled mess of blankets and cushions, and unwraps his chosen pastille. It is sweet, though. What a shame that would be if I never got to taste it again. That's right. I could never resist the promise of an entertaining night, no matter what may come down the line. I'm a hopeless hedonist, after all. Nothing to be done about that. Let fate decide then. If he comes, he comes. And if we never meet again, I can always hold on to the memory of our perfect date. Several hours later, there's a knock at the door. And right on this doorstep, Periwinkle is pleasantly surprised to find a Pastille. I wasn't expecting to see you again so soon. And treating me to another cute new look, no less. Sorry, I couldn't stop thinking about... I realized last night I never actually got to sample your magic, the scents you mentioned. Oh, that's right. We were quite preoccupied, Yes, so that's why I'm here. He finally manages to make eye contact, but quickly averts his gaze once more. Were you in bed? Sorry, I shouldn't have come so late. These aren't even my sexiest pajamas. I didn't say anything about that. But to answer your question, no, I wasn't. Although I did take a nap earlier this afternoon, I've otherwise been enjoying a relaxing night in. And I'm so very glad I didn't end up going out. I would have missed out on this flustered mess. Would you like to come in? Pastille nods vigorously in response. It's still a bit of a mess in here. I hope you don't mind. There's a path through. I've seen worse. Oh, maybe I'll let it spiral further into chaos then. I'm just so competitive, you know. I'm not sure that's a competition you'd really want to win. Perhaps not. Periwinkle carefully steps over some of his clutter to dig through one of the boxes in the far corner of the room. Here they are, my personal favorites. This row here contains some of the more potent scents, some of them for relaxation, things to calm the nerves. The rest I just happen to like. Sweet scents like strawberry, banana, bubblegum, mango. Is there a reason you're only naming candy flavors? Must be a coincidence. Pastille picks out an unlabeled bottle filled with a pale pink liquid. Oh, what's this? Watch out. That one's an aphrodisiac. We'll see about that.
Oh dear.
Pastille locks eyes with Periwinkle as he opens the vial without hesitation. How bold. Oh, it's peach. I almost expected it to be overpowering. Well, the aphrodisiac bit was a lie, but I'm glad you like it. You're really good at this type of magic. I've never done anything like it. Would you like to try it on?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't do perfume or cologne or anything like that. You've never tried it? Oh, so would you say you're a perfume version, then? I'm not! Who even says things like that? In my line of work, you'd be surprised.
Ooh,
It's probably just you. Maybe so. If you're not going to try it, I'll have it back now, please. I could try. I just don't know how I'm supposed to apply it. May I? Pastille nods, handing over the small vial. Periwinkle seals the opening with his fingertip and swiftly tilts the bottle over and back. Here. He lightly rubs a spot on Pastille's neck, engulfing them both in the pleasant scent of his magic. Their eyes met, neither of them daring to be the first to move. Maybe the aphrodisiac bit wasn't a lie after all. Pastille breaks the spell, rushing forward with a sudden kiss, and then retreats just as quickly. Sorry, He certainly is impulsive, not that I mind at all. I'm more than happy to go along with your little game, Pastille. Oh no, my own magic is working too well. I guess there's no choice but to have my way with you, my sweet. Oh no. Pastille's half-hearted protests end there. Periwinkle's hands were already upon him, and would continue to be for the rest of the night.
Oh, great. I like the color.
Over the next month or so, we fell into quite an enjoyable pattern. Pastille would show up at my doorstep maybe once or twice a week. Sometimes we'd go out to dinner, but mostly he'd just spend the night. I was starting to become almost routine, though each visit was somehow just as exciting as the last. The details of which I'll choose to keep private, per Pastille's sake. That boy is insatiable, I will say that. Inevitably, after seeing someone for long enough, one begins to pick up on their habits. Cute habits, like the way he kisses me on the cheek before rushing off to work in the early morning. The way he runs his hand through his hair when he's thinking really hard about something. Even his knock is specific. Once, lightly, to test the waters. A pause, as he gathers his courage. Then 3, firm and evenly spaced. I'm not sure which one of these habits he's conscious of, but there's one I've decided he must be acting knowingly, which is his habit of leaving one of his personal effects behind with each visit. First a barrette, then an earring, his choker, a bracelet, and then he returns after a few days with an apology, explaining he had just come to pick up whatever he'd left behind. Sure, Pastille, keep creating your little excuses to come back here. I'll happily go along with them. What fun! I wonder what he'll come looking for this time. Periwinkle gathers up the discarded garments that had been left strewn across his bedroom, tossing them into a pile to be dealt with later. He couldn't possibly leave his underwear behind, could he? No, that would be impossible to explain. An earring, sure, but there's no way he'd walk out of here like that. Periwinkle hums to himself as he makes the bed, double-checking between the sheets while he's at it. I'm almost disappointed. It's been so consistent up till now. I suppose he could just be that forgetful.
So like maybe if you need an extra space.
Unable to find anything of Pastille's in my bedroom, I decide to spend the rest of the morning cleaning up the place. Now, mind you, I never let my house get dirty, only messy. Leaving garbage or food waste about is out of the question. Everything else, though, is simply that many things don't make it back to their proper place, or rather, I can never decide on a proper place for many of my things. Toss them into boxes, shuffle the boxes around the room, and suddenly they've become unimaginable piles. To truly put everything away, these would all have to be emptied and sorted, a daunting task to be sure. But it has been a while since my last attempt. I may as well put in some effort. But where to begin? I suppose my work supplies have been a little difficult to navigate as of late. It's an achievable goal now, isn't it? And practical as well. Periwinkle begins with the box of his favorite perfumes that had been sitting out since one of Pastille's first visits. Ah, yes, the aphrodisiac. That was a fun night. He packs the bottles back into their places, then closes the box, sealing them safely inside. This should go... Perhaps it'd be better to set it high on the bookshelf? If I just rearrange things a bit, there should be room for everything. As Periwinkle begins setting things aside, a new pile is born, precariously teetering on the back of the couch. He places the box just where he wants it, then just stacks this various books and knickknacks around it. Just as he made his way through half of the pile, a small portion of it topples forward, bouncing safely onto the couch cushions. Ha! Topple all you want. I was prepared. He finally notices Pastile's jacket, which is expertly blended into the blankets and cushions around it. Ah, just when I'd finally worked up the energy to clean up around here, what do I find? Yes, this is no mere case of forgetfulness. It was indeed a little game all along. Periwinkle giddily laughs to himself, excited to have been proven right. You've escalated it too far, Pastile. To leave your jacket behind is just ridiculous. He leaves me no choice. I'll just have to return this myself. Periwinkle abandons what he was doing and skips off to his room to get dressed. Ooh, dress up, dress up. Ooh, he's wearing a different dress this time. Oh, I can see the choker this time. The dark earrings blend a little too much into his hair. And the light choker, yeah. Light earrings, light choker. What about... Yeah, just the light earrings and light choker sound good today.
Yeah.
I hadn't had a chance to return to Atelier Suites since first meeting Pastile. He was always the one showing up on my doorstep after all. There was no need. It's about time I paid him a visit, yes. I could restock on my favorite candies as well. Upon reaching Atelier Suites, though, I hesitate. Would it be rude to barge in while he's working? I just know I wouldn't be able to resist teasing him. As to not become a nuisance, I shall make my presence known from here. Periwinkle boldly approaches the bench directly in front of the candy shop and sits down. All were wearing Pastile's forgotten jacket. And now we wait. A few minutes pass. I can see Pastile through the shop window. He's currently preoccupied with a customer. Luckily, I brought a lunch, a simple peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Will he notice me before I finish it? My customer's walking out now. Our eyes met. Pastile turns away, pacing a bit. I take another bite of my sandwich, still watching intently. He stops for a moment in front of the door, behind the register, until finally making his way out of the store, broom in hand. But instead of coming over right away, he turns his back to me, sweeping the sidewalk in front of the entrance. Perhaps he has a strict supervisor? He keeps glancing over his shoulder. Just come over here, you silly boy. His face is quite red, so I can say with confidence that I've successfully overwhelmed him once again. I've finished my sandwich by the time he approaches. He takes a seat on the opposite end of the bench. I thought you were ignoring me. No, I was just trying to decide what to do. Was this a bad time to return your jacket? Not the worst time. Periwinkle unzips the jacket and shuffles out of it, casually folding it onto his lap. I found it while I was cleaning up the place. I suppose I could have waited for you to return, but since I was in the area... Right, sorry. It's my fault for leaving it behind in the first place. Pastile can barely look me in the eye. It doesn't stop him from stealing glances at what I'm wearing. But who could resist that? I wore my cutest dress for this. Something seems a little off, though. He's usually a bundle of nerves, yes, but this is a bit much. I'll get right to the point, then. Oh, Pastile, you don't have to plant excuses just to visit me. I wasn't planting anything. I just forgot it on my way out. I find that hard to believe, considering you've forgotten exactly one thing each time you visit. Really, you should be more honest. Sorry. Thank you for returning it. Oh, it's my pleasure. It gave me a good excuse to see your flustered little face again. Periwinkle sets the jacket on the empty space between them and rises to take his leave. But Pastile gently grasps his wrist before he goes. Perry, sorry I made you think I was ignoring you. I was only teasing, my sweet. Still, I'm not ready to be open about who I see outside of work. I like to keep things very discreet. I don't want to have to explain anything to my friends. I'd die of embarrassment. So that's why. Understood. I'm actually used to being someone's little secret. That doesn't sound quite right. What I'm trying to say is, I don't mind at all. From now on, I'll just continue to let you come to me. Thank you. Sorry. I don't know what you keep apologizing for, Pastille. I'll see you around, yes? Pastille nods, and finally lets go of his wrist. A misstep. A huge misstep. I should have guessed it from the hints he's given, just a few things he said here and there. It was enough to put it together, wasn't it? The most obvious one being he always comes to me, but not the other way around. Our comfortable pattern that I recklessly interrupted. I should have known from previous encounters with closeted individuals. What's supposed to be a fun, surprise appearance can turn so quickly into a desperate rally to cling to normalcy. Carefully constructed lies to conceal the piece of yourself that may not be accepted, whether it's by the individual themselves or by their loved ones. Certainly an unenviable position to find oneself in.
What do you think?
Pastille and I had been seeing a lot of each other during this past month. Was this the inevitable breaking point then? It can only become more complicated from here. But it was going perfectly for so long. Perhaps I'm being overdramatic. I haven't grown tired of him at all, which is precisely the problem. Unwilling to return home so soon, I walk in the direction of the apothecary. Astragalus will be able to knock some sense into me. She always does. Astragalus, are you busy? I know that whine. You've shifted into dramatic bitch mode. Take pity on me. I'm having a bad day. All right, ya baby. Tell me what happened. Things are slow today anyhow. Astragalus listened patiently as I explained the events of the day. I've learned to come straight to her whenever I find myself unable to make a decision. Although she often puts things far too bluntly, I do always end up feeling more grounded after her consolation. So, you're upset because you overstepped his bounds. Accidentally, you always leave out key information. And now you think it's over between you two. When you put it like that, I really do sound dramatic. I mean, you are, but you also have a point. If you want to avoid getting things complicated, this is your sign to get out. I gotta say though, for two guys who aren't in a committed relationship, you sure do sound like you're in one. It's purely casual. I've been seeing a few others in the midst of this. But all you talk about is Pastille every time you come in here. I know. I just wish I hadn't gone to return the jacket. It was supposed to be fun, but now... Yeah, honestly, I think he's being unfair. He shows up to your place whenever he wants, right? Yes, but I don't have anything else going on. He has a respectable job and all. Sounds like you just have less self-respect, and this guy isn't treating you right. Now that's unfair. He simply said he wasn't ready. It doesn't mean... making excuses now. You are really hung up on him. This is too hilarious to watch. Enough. I simply cannot help it if he's just the cutest thing. Of course I don't want to stop seeing him. At that moment, a familiar chime sounded, marking a customer's arrival. I turned my head instinctively to see. Periwinkle, nya? Oh, gee, you look so cute today, nya. Why, thank you. I certainly didn't expect to see you here, Jam. Astragalus walks into the back room, still laughing at Periwinkle's expense. I've been coming here to buy your magic, nya. Remember when you did a little demo for everyone at that one party? You totally sold me on it back then, nya. I've done a few, so I can't recall, but I'm happy to hear it regardless. So what are you doing here, nya? On a date or on the job? No date today. I've ruined my chance at that. Aw, man, what? That's such a bummer, nya. I really never thought I'd hear of the day you, of all people, couldn't get a date, though. You date like everyone, nya. It'd be more accurate to say I go on dates with everyone, rather than actually date them. Aw, same diff. You're like the thirst master, nya.
Thirst master.
She's right. It's not as if Pastille is my only option if I'm looking for a good time. Anyway, are you going to Cheval's party tonight, nya? No, this is the first I've heard of it. He's throwing yet another soiree? Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't know, nya. I suppose I've been more out of the loop on these things than usual. I haven't even bothered with as many parties since... Well, you should come. They're good luck, like in terms of love and romance, nya. I mean, I'm finally dating my best friend thanks to that last one. Ah, Marzipan, wasn't it? You weren't together before that?
All of them have camping.
Ah, I knew everyone thought we were. So embarrassing, yeah. I guess what matters is we finally could be totally honest with each other, though. I'm really happy, yeah. Well, congratulations. You deserve that happiness. Yeah, so like if you ever need relationship advice, I'm your gal, yeah. Oh, but I guess you wouldn't since you don't actually date anyone. Yeah. Periwinkle hears Astragalus snorting with laughter in the back room. How dare she? I came here to be comforted, not ridiculed. Jam, dear, what time did you say that party started? Oh, like a few hours from now, I think? Yeah. Sorry, I can never remember the time difference between here and the netherworld, and yeah. No matter. These things tend to go all night, and I prefer to arrive fashionably late. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to return home to freshen up before the soiree. Sure. See you there, Nia. Periwinkle marches home in a huff. Astragalus thinks I'm lacking in self-respect. I'll show her. I'm going to find someone to spoil me tonight. Netherworld parties happen with the perfect venue, always filled with cute faces I haven't yet encountered. Plenty of incubi as well. They live to please their partners. It's been a while since I've slept with a demon. I'm looking forward to this now. Ooh. Okay, dress up this time again. Since it's a demon party, should I do demon wings for this party? Angel wings? I think the angel wings pop out better from his clothes.
Hi? Yes, I'm here.
And then for his head.
Okay, what can I do? Oh. Huh. Yeah, that's a good point. How? How, they were really tense.
I think he's gonna be a bunny tonight. A good angel bunny.
I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
And so a few hours later,
I can actually, like, ouch.
Periwinkle arrives at the soiree. Let's see, who looks available? Scanning the room, he spots both Jam and Sherval happily chatting with the other guests. Sherval himself certainly isn't a bad lay, but I couldn't go stealing the host of the party. Periwinkle begins to gravitate towards the snack table, still scoping out various partygoers. Plenty of candidates to choose from, however will I decide? Before he can approach it to make up his mind about who to approach, a taller demon slides into the empty space beside him to start a conversation. Lots of cute witches at this soiree, huh? Ah, so it's been decided for me. I'm already being spoiled. I didn't come here for the witches. Ha! I'm Cardamom. Periwinkle. Periwinkle. So this is gonna sound weird, but do I know you from somewhere? Your dreams, perhaps.
Your dreams, perhaps.
No, for real. Something about your face is just so familiar. I frequent these types of events, so it's likely we've crossed paths at some point. That's not it. I would have tried hitting on you if we did. Well, you're certainly free to do so now. I'll give it a shot, with your permission. This one isn't bad. I do appreciate how straightforward he's being. So what are you here for, if not the witches? I had intended to find someone to spoil me. An incubi are rumored to be good for exactly that.
More silver ore.
We are. So the rumors are true. I'm in luck then. Would you happen to have any friends who would be interested in dancing with a cute little witch like me? I could ask around. Or, better idea, you could just settle for me. I suppose you'll do. I present my hand, and Cardamom gives an exaggerated bow. He pulls me in, I'll bet a little clumsily, with his gigantic demon hands. Always enjoyable to be swept up in the arms of a larger man. My own hand is almost entirely consumed by his, which present unlike with Pastille's, which fits so... Pastille?
My hands are very big.
Am I still comparing everyone to him? I shake the thought and return to the moment. The pair twirls around the dance floor, losing themselves in the music. After a while, Cardamom suddenly speaks up. Oh, I think I just realized where I know you from. Really now? Yeah, you were in the magazine I work for. I'm an editor. I used your photos for an issue a couple years back. Ah, what a coincidence. I did used to do some modeling in the past. And in the past it shall remain. I'm in a different line of work now. Oh, really? That's too bad. I always thought you looked amazing. I appreciate that. Well, this certainly complicates things. I'd much prefer to have been complete strangers. How unfortunate, just when I was beginning to enjoy myself. Ah, wow. I can't believe I ran into you like this. Maybe it's a sign? A sign? Of what, dare I ask? That you should come back to modeling. I can get you in our magazine again, if you're interested, that is. I appreciate the offer, but I've moved on. It put too much of a strain on my relationship with fashion, among other things. Well, at least take my card, in case you change your mind. No, thank you. I don't see that happening. Oh, come on. You'd be so great. It feels like such a waste of talent. I'm quickly growing tired of this. Thank you for the dance, but I really should be going now. Huh? Sure. This was fun. Perhaps we'll meet again sometime. Yeah. I didn't expect to be reminded of my modeling days, of all things. Although his excitement was understandable, the way he went about it certainly ruined the mood. I hate to admit it, but I'd gone into this night far too unstable to begin with, for such a small thing to get me. I'm not even here on my own terms, am I? This is all to prove a point. That's certainly not in the spirit of a friendly soiree. It's best I just return home and... Periwinkle, wait! He turns his head to find the cardamom has chased after him, stumbling into the lonely night air. Hey, I'm sorry if I said anything to upset you. Upset me? Perish the thought. It's simply that I'm feeling a little off tonight. I realized I may have come here for the wrong reasons. Look, I suddenly started talking about work. That's why that wasn't why I approached you at all. You came here for a good time, right? Well, a party's definitely the place to find it. Heck, it's what I'm here for, too. So you're not wrong to come looking for that. He's completely misread the situation, although it is starting to look salvageable from here. Anyway, please forget about the magazine stuff. It doesn't matter. We were having fun before that, right? Dancing was nice, yes. I want to do more than just dance with you. Oh, there it is. Now we're getting somewhere. More than dance. And what could that mean? Well, don't make me spell it out. A kiss, perhaps? Sure. And, well, you know, whatever else you'd like to do. As an incubus, I live to please. Since he apologized, I may as well. Kissing is a fine start. Cardamom holds out his arms, inviting Periwinkle into a soft embrace. Periwinkle's hands glide up his chest, and he wraps his arms around the demon's neck. Their face just inches apart. He pauses. I expected him to close the gap. Pastille would have kissed me. I've grown far too accomplished for that, so I automatically... Shit, this was a mistake. Periwinkle gives him a light peck on the cheek before pulling away. My apologies. I do actually need to get going now. Huh? I shouldn't have led you on. I'm terribly sorry. No, don't worry about that. If you don't want to, it's fine. I'm just a little confused, though. Did I do something wrong? It's not you. You're very nice. Very firm muscles. Thanks. If it were any other night, things would have gone very differently. Please believe me when I say that. Seriously, is this all this mysterious talk supposed to make me want you less? I'm sure you'll have great luck with the witches inside. You're very charming. Damn. Well, all right. Get home safe, Periwinkle. Home to see you again on any other night, like you said. Thank you for keeping me entertained. Farewell. I shouldn't have come. What exactly have I proven here tonight? That I'm willing to pursue the first pink-haired boy I come across out of sheer desperation? I wanted a stragglers to be wrong for once. To admit that I'm hung up on someone is just... I don't feel like myself at all.
I don't necessarily know what...
Periwinkle arrives home, lazily slipping out of his shoes and dress. He tosses his hat somewhere and collapses onto the couch. I feel even more miserable than before. Periwinkle finds himself staring at the front door, half expecting to hear a familiar knock. The state Bastille would find me in if he were to show up tonight. I should get in bed. But he doesn't. Instead, he buries his face in the cushions and falls asleep.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of pots I just found. Oh my gosh.
Periwinkle bolts awake to the sound of a knock on his door. What time is it? He rises up from the couch and lightly treads over to check who might be visiting him so early in the morning. Ah! At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me.
Aww.
It took several moments to register the fact that Pastille was on my doorstep. The knocking comes again, snapping me out of my stupor. Oh, one moment, please. Periwinkle gathers up the clothes he'd left on the floor and stuffs them out of sight. Next, he scrambles into the bathroom to check his makeup. Passable, considering the circumstances.
No.
Wrapping a blanket around his shoulders in an attempt to look half decent, he finally opens the door. Hi! I took the day off, so I... Sorry, did I wake you up? Yes, I had a late night. Come in. I'll be ready in just a moment.
Yeah.
Pastille is here. But why is he here? A day off? Not that he has the day off, but he chose to take it and then came here? Let's just put that aside for now. I need to get dressed. Periwinkle scurries back to his bedroom to change, while Pastille waits politely by the door. So your day off, And you chose to visit me? I'm flattered. Well, it's not just to visit. I was hoping to take you on a date. Oh, a date? Usually we reserve those for dinner time, haven't we? I wanted to make up for yesterday. So if you didn't have any other plans, I was thinking we could just hang out for a while. Sure, I don't mind, but what exactly is there to make up for, my sweet? You know, how I told you not to come back to the shop, even though you only showed up to do me a favor? He has it completely backwards. Periwinkle pokes his head out from the bedroom to look Pastille in the eye. Au contraire, Pastille. I should be the one to apologize for putting you in such an uncomfortable position. I shouldn't have shown up unannounced. It wasn't my intention to cause you any actual discomfort. No, I don't think I clarified my boundaries from the beginning, so that's not your fault at all. Then it seems everything is fine now? Perhaps I could get to know those boundaries better during our date then. Why does it sound so suggestive when you say it? Periwinkle retreats back to his room with a smile. The boy has truly caught me off guard. I'm almost frustrated that the spiral of guilt and confusion I lost myself in yesterday could be resolved so quickly. That's all it was. I had merely been fixating on my mistake. It had nothing to do with Pastille per se. He just happened to be the one at the center of it, so of course all my attention was unnecessarily directed toward him. There's no problem then, which means, as usual, I can enjoy our date to the fullest extent. Well, do tell me where we're headed. I'll need to know if I'm going to pick something to wear. Oh, you haven't had breakfast yet, have you? Let's get something to eat first. Actually, could you come in here a moment? Yes? I thought it might be fun to choose what outfit I wear. Are you sure? The clean clothes are in that pile, dear. Oh, okay, Pastille begins to sort through the pile of skirts and dresses, taking extra care to fold the ones he sets aside. How about these? He approaches the folding screen and holds the clothes out for the side for Periwinkle to take. Oh, these are nice picks, but no underwear? Oh, aren't you already wearing some? So scandalous, Pastille, I didn't know you had it in you. Please, I'll find you a pair. I'm only teasing, my sweet. Periwinkle finally walks out, fully dressed. Oh, that's a really cute outfit. Ready to go. Pastille looks him up and down cautiously. You're wearing some, right? We'll just have to find out later tonight, won't we? Perry!
Aww. That's so annoying.
Yes. Okay.
That's not fair.
Flower choker. Matches his hair. And white ribbons. That's good. Yeah.
I thought you said you heard his voice. Oh. How do you do that? Is there like special
Hello,
shoes?
I'm happy that people have commented. Thank you, Bragg the Bear. You did that a while ago. And Val, you're here too. That's good and nice. Okay, what a lovely day for a date. We walk side by side, Pastille with his hands stuffed into oversized pockets. So cute. He's in the perfect position to be clinged to, but I must refrain. I doubt he'd be comfortable with me hanging all over him in broad daylight. Besides, there's no need to jump into such overt affections just yet. When we reach the cafe, Pastille orders us some donuts to share. I wonder what else he has planned. He only mentioned hanging out. Who knows what that could entail? Munching away at our breakfast, I study his face for clues. He really is so cute. I remember the choker. He wore it on our first date as well. And it's the same beret he left behind after one of our sleepovers. Such pointed choice in accessories. Ah, and now all my staring has embarrassed him. You're too easily flustered, my sweet. Forgive me for staring. I was trying to intuit what you might have planned for us after this. Nothing in particular. Wandering around town is enough for me. I see. Loitering does facilitate conversation quite well. As long as we're out and about, we don't end up, oh, is he going to say it? You know. Of course not. I actually like when we get to talk. I mean, it's not that we don't when I sleep over, it's just a different kind. And true. Sorry, now I feel like I'm talking too much. Not at all, my sweet. I have to say, I rather enjoy our chats as well. Even if you can't resist cutting them short once we're behind closed doors. I'm really sorry. He's simply too much fun. But this is no time for my usual teasing. I can't forget what brought us here. It's a perfect opportunity to become more deeply acquainted. I learn all about Pastille so that I don't end up crossing the line again. In the interest of defining boundaries, are there any subjects I should avoid bringing up with you? On that note, has there ever been anything that I've said that caused you discomfort in the slightest? Please don't hold back. Nothing really comes to mind. I mean, I've always felt pretty comfortable around you, so we could probably talk about anything and it'd be okay. Anything, really? Surely you must have some sensitive topics you'd like to avoid. I guess so, but I wouldn't really be worried talking about them with you. Actually, you might be the most attentive person I've ever met. Maybe that's why I'm not worried at all. I'm glad to hear that. But you've certainly piqued my curiosity. What kinds of sensitive topics, if you don't mind me asking? Like, for example, you've never made me feel weird about gender stuff. I'd certainly hope not. That one's a bit sensitive for me as well. See? That's why it feels okay to talk about with you. I'm not very masculine, so I get mistaken for a girl every now and then. Not that it's something I get mad about or anything. I've always dealt with it, ever since I was little. Still, I think it bothers me in particular since, well, you know, I'm intersex. Right. I want to be recognized as a boy, but I like wearing feminine clothes too. Yes, that's it exactly. I feel the very same. Right? Like I don't want to be limited to presenting only one way, even if I'm fine with boyish clothes too. For me, it's simply about looking beautiful. I dress to fit my ideal. It's not a matter of gender, but aesthetic preference. These are the clothes I feel best in. You, look really good in them, so... Why, thank you. And I must say your sense of style never fails to impress. I'm glad you like it. Bastille sips his drink while Periwinkle continues. When I was young, I didn't have the confidence to dress so beautifully. Can you even imagine it? You without confidence? No, I'm not sure that's possible. Right? I suppose I was a different person back then. Where I grew up, things were much more black and white. You were either a boy or a girl, and you had to dress accordingly. That sounds harsh. It very much was. I was completely miserable. Perhaps it becomes I come from that sort of environment, but I want to be known I look this glamorous as a boy. Not to say that this is any easy for any gender. I only wish for my efforts to be acknowledged. I think it's just your competitive spirit again. See, you truly understand me. They laugh together. Periwinkle relaxes into his chair and finishes his drink with a big smile on his face. Pastille and I depart from the cafe and make our way down the street. With no destination in mind, the details of our surroundings, things I've never really paid any mind to, make themselves known. Aromas from the bakery, the flower shop, the passateer, each distinct and enticing. I'm left with a peaceful feeling as we patch each of them by. Now there's a fun idea. A scent that transforms over time, giving you a sense of place. But I shouldn't be thinking about work while I'm on a date. I turn my attention back to Pastille. With gender thoroughly discussed, the next personal question would have to be, sexuality. What type of partner gets you the most hot and bothered? Shh, you can't just shout those words in the middle of a crowd. Oh, who's even listening? I certainly wasn't shouting.
What?
Please don't talk about that stuff too loudly. People will start us giving me weird looks. Shall I whisper it in your ear then? That's even worse. Now who's shouting? Pastille glances around, but despite his outburst, Periwinkle was right. No one had turned their way. Sorry, I guess it's okay. Feel free to stop me if I'm being too much, yes? There's nothing wrong with being a little too much. I imagined you'd say so. Returning to the topic at hand. I've been with all sorts of partners. I'd say I can appreciate just about anyone, but I must admit I prefer witch boys above all others. I would also say witch boys. Oh, care to elaborate, my sweet? No, that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll have to tease it out of you later then. Ah! We follow along the twisted streets of the shopping district, looking at each of the windows as we pass them by. This is my favorite part of town, filled with all the high-end boutiques you could dream of. The mannequins from one of them catch my eye, and I lightly grab Pastille's sleeve to draw his attention. You'd look so good in that, don't you think? Really? I don't know if something so extravagant would really suit me. Nonsense, you could pull it off. The accents match your eyes. I guess they do. But you'd look great in that one, too. Oh, and that one. You're pointing to everything. Yes, well, the alternative would be to say that I'd like to see you in nothing at all. Ah! Do you go clothes shopping often? You have such a variety of cute looks.
Wearing socks?
Every now and then, but I can't afford the kinds of stuff they sell here. It is rather pricey, but the brands are worth it. I really don't know anything about fashion. I just end up picking whatever stands out to me. As it should be. You're better off not becoming obsessed with these things. It certainly isn't easy on the wallet. I'll leave the brand name stuff to you then. Just seeing them is enough for me. Oh, just seeing them, not stripping them off of me? Ah! After our little fashion circuit, we ended up near the cafe where we'd started. I'd certainly worked him up to take him home right away, but that would mean cutting our date short, and what a shame that would be. I skip ahead of Pastille and twirl around to face him. There's somewhere I'd like to take you. Well, sure. I realize I've seen your workplace, but you haven't seen mine. It's a little apothecary I sell my magic to for distribution. An apothecary? I thought you sold perfumes. Technically, that's all they are. I don't claim they deliver any lasting health benefits. They're more for healing the mind. Anxiety, stress, and any other unpleasant feelings can be lifted away with just the right aromas. It's much more effective for some than others, but there's more for those sensitive to such things. It can make quite the difference. Huh. And now I feel I've bored you with you all about this uninteresting work chatter. No, that's not it at all. I was just thinking, it's really admirable that your magic can be used to help people like that. Admirable? Selling candy, I think, makes people happy too. Maybe that's what's fun about it. Not that I'd ever claim our candy is healthy either. If anything, you might get cavities. The witch who owns the apothecary really liked the sample I passed along to her. Perhaps she'll ask to distribute your candies as well. My boss would never agree to that. Anyway, I'd be happy to see it. Lead the way. Very well. Follow me. When we enter the apothecary, it looks to be completely empty. Astragalus usually sits in the back room, consumed in her work, until she hears the chime of a customer entering. If you'd ask me, she could really use another helper to liven up the place. But I suppose that the hustle and bustle of an ever-busy shop would have its own setbacks. Feel free to look around. I'm going to go and greet the owner. Sure. Periwinkle leans over the counter to peek into the back room. Astragalus, you have a customer. Oh, Periwinkle, I didn't expect to see you back so soon. I brought Pastille. We're on a date. Okay. She looks over at Pastille, who waves when he notices he's being watched. Astragalus turns back to Periwinkle. I take it you decided not to heed my advice. What advice? Why bother coming to me if you're just gonna do whatever you want? Well, whatever. Is there a reason you're here? I thought I'd drop by to give you a little update. As you can see, everything is fine now. Sure, very normal for you to suddenly bring one of your dates here. Is it not? I visit you all the time. Yeah, not for stuff like this. Anyway, I wanted you to meet Pastille. Pastille, come over here. Startled by suddenly being called upon, Pastille fumbles the bottle he was holding and it crashes onto the floor. Hey, you break it, you buy it. Sorry, I can fix it. Pastille sweeps the pieces of a bottle into a pile along with its powdered contents. He holds his hand over the pile, now glowing with magic, and the three of them watch as it reassembles perfectly before them. Impressive, he's done it so quickly. There, good as new.
Nice, okay.
Bring it here. Sure, sorry. I can't but feel I've put Pastille in yet another uncomfortable situation. Damn, you can't even tell it was ever busted up. This kind of magic your specialty?
Hey,
Not really. I only learned it because I thought it'd come in handy. Huh.
that didn't like gold.
Astragalus continues inspecting the bottle and then takes it into the back room without saying another word. Well, I suppose she was impressed too. Is she mad at me? I can't really tell. It looks like you
No,
were
I don't
spared
think I
today.
was.
That spell really saved you.
You make a really good
I
point.
can't believe I did that. I'm not usually this clumsy, I swear.
Oh,
Oh, but wouldn't it be adorable if you were, Pastille the
that does
Klutz?
sound right.
No,
I don't know.
I'm just gonna go wait outside. Don't be too hard on yourself. I promise you made a better impression than you think. Bastille walks out of the
that's not what it's
apothecary,
supposed to be.
and I lean against the counter,
That's
waiting for Astragalus to re-emerge from the back room.
Yeah,
When she does, it's with a bag full of, well, I'm not quite sure.
yeah, it's not good for him.
Where'd your boyfriend go? You shouldn't call him that. Might I ask, what is it you're holding? Busted lamp. Been meaning to glue it back together myself until I saw the opportunity to save myself the trouble. How offensive. Take it to a repair shop like everyone else. Nah, waste of money. You better keep that boy around. He's useful. You've certainly changed your tune. He's cute. I get a good vibe from him. Anyway, bring him back in sometime so I can get this lamp fixed. Got it? He won't be doing that. Seriously though, where I'm from, we were taught that you can tell a lot about a witch from their magic. And his, very empathetic,
I'm sorry.
sincere, compassionate.
There's not much I can do about
Well, you
mine.
aren't wrong, but how can you judge that sort of thing after witnessing one little spell? Ha! Wouldn't you like to know? I don't need your superstitions. I have a date to get back to. All right, have fun, Periwinkle. Oh, I very much intend
Oh,
to.
we can hear you. We can hear you plenty. That's the thing.
Drink of water. Smiling to himself, Periwinkle strides confidently out the door to where Pastille is waiting. Hey, do I still need to pay for that bottle? She didn't mention it. I'm glad I could fix it. I was worried it might be expensive. You never told me you were so good with magic. As I recall, you said you had been living without it? Yeah, mostly. I wouldn't get into the reasons why, but I got back into studying it
Yeah.
recently. Astragalus
Yeah.
certainly thought you were talented.
Yeah.
I'm impressed too, of course.
Yeah, what
Thanks.
do you think, man?
If only I could use magic to stop myself from being a klutz. Oh, are you embracing that nickname now? No, please go back to saying my sweet. If you like that one so much, I suppose I have no choice. I just meant... Never mind, don't call me anything. No, Pastille. We resume our stroll around town. This time, Pastille, who takes the lead. He seems to have some place in mind, but hasn't said as much. He merely takes my hand and leads me up a labyrinth of stairs. And once we reach the top, a gust of wind swoops over the trees overhead, showering us in flower petals. Ah, peach blossoms. It's nice, isn't it? I can't be able to think you're trying to tell me something right now. Huh? Don't you remember? My aphrodisiac was
your
also
whole thing?
peach-scented. I wasn't thinking about that. I was just trying to think of other places we could go, and this one came to mind. It's very lovely, very romantic. Straight out of a shoujo manga, honestly. How does he know I'm weak to such things? We don't have to stay. I mean, we've already walked around so much. It's okay if you want to head back now. Not to do things. I just meant I'm gonna stop talking.
Yeah,
Pastille.
I
Yes?
agree.
You've presented me quite the conundrum. If I kiss you now, you'll definitely want to return home with me as soon as possible. But I wasn't done learning all about you. I'm not ready for our date to
I believe
end.
you.
Oh, that is a conundrum. Yes, you see, both options are equally appealing. However, can I decide? Well, it's still light out. Maybe we can hold back until after dinner?
Oh my gosh. Oh dear. It says it's still picking up.
Or I could have you for dinner. On the other hand, you bring up a valid point. Holding back is fun in itself. Do you expect me to recover after what you just said?
Alright.
See, this is quite fun. It's decided then. The date continues. I give Pastille a moment to calm himself. We walk up to the railing and look out at the town. You can see Atelier Suites from here, and the train station next to it. My house is somewhere in a row of similarly built homes, inconspicuous. Fallen petals litter the bricks at our feet, with every little breeze carrying a few more over the railing to land somewhere unknown. After watching them for a while, I turn back to Pastille. Tell me about your magic. Oh, okay. What do you want to know? Your specialty, dear. If you were good at reconstruction, I imagine it falls somewhere in that category. I'm not really. I'm actually an astral witch. My, how rare! And what exactly does that entail for you? Well, I mostly use it for fire spells, like anyone else. Forgive me, I'm not well versed in magic theory, but what does astral magic have something to do with creation? It does, but that stuff's pretty advanced. I haven't been able to find any books explaining how to use it. Which is probably for the best, actually. No one should be allowed to go around creating souls spontaneously. Pastille rubs the back of his neck, looking off into the distance. He seems so troubled by the subject. I suppose because he had been living without magic, it may feel strange to openly discuss it. An astral witch, though, I wouldn't have guessed. I would have. He has stars over everything. Putting one and two together, one thing makes perfect sense now. So the famous Atelier Suites golem was your creation? Is she really that famous? I'd expect our sales to be a little better if that were the case. But yeah, just don't go around telling everyone. I didn't know what I was doing when I made her. What an amazing feat, and yet you sound almost ashamed of it. It's not like I regret it or anything. Gumdrop is really great. I feel bad she's stuck in a body with so many limitations. Like, she didn't ask to be made that way. I didn't know you could even make golems that felt real emotions, so of course I never considered any of that. Sorry to go off about it. I've just been feeling guilty lately. Kind of a heavy topic. No, thank you for telling me. It's as if I've discovered a whole new side of you today. I'm grateful to know it. Thanks for listening. I don't get many chances to talk about things like this, so I'm grateful for it too. Hearing you speak of her though, I'd love to meet this golem of yours one day. Sure, maybe one day. Pastille is amazing. I've never met anyone who would downplay their talents this much. I could ask 1,000 questions and still only scratch the surface. My, now I am the insatiable one. How the tables have turned. Well, it's time to move on and descend the stairs from whence we came. Still chatting endlessly as we decide where we'll wander to next. Over dinner, Pastille opens up a little more. We trade anecdotes, listening intently to each other's stories, no matter how unremarkable the events told within them. I could never tire it. I was hooked by his every word. Alas, the hours flew by, and our day together was quickly approaching its end. But now we had a whole night to look forward to. The sun was on its way down as we emerged back onto the street, the atmosphere so different than it had been a short while ago. Pastille brushes his bangs aside and asks, "Do you want to head back? It's starting to get late." You've waited so patiently to be able to say that. It's not like you aren't thinking of it too. Let's go through the park. It's a shorter walk. Sure, after you. Periwinkle extends his hand, which Pastille takes without hesitation. Under cover of dusk, they walk toward the park with fingers gently intertwined. This park, during twilight hours, is nearly always deserted. Tonight was no exception. We had the entire place to ourselves. This way, I can cling to Pastille all I want, and on top of that... What are you smiling about? And finally, no one's around. We can talk about all the inappropriate things we want. I knew there was something dangerous about taking this shortcut. It's okay then, right? No one will overhear your lascivious lascivious confessions. Okay, what do you want to know? Oh, I don't think you actually agree. I didn't have anything prepared. Really? How anticlimactic. Unless you're dying to tell me how much you love being domed. I'm not gonna say that! Any fetishes, then? I have experience with all sorts, you know. This is too much. I need to sit down. Pastille begins his retreat to a nearby bench. Ah, are you perhaps into fooling around outdoors? That's illegal! Only kidding. Periwinkle follows Pastille to the bench and sits down beside him, leaning his head on his shoulder. Your sweatshirt is so warm. Are you upset with me for suggesting such a scandalous idea? No, but if you cling to me too much, I'm worried I might change my mind. I wouldn't want to compromise your morals, but I'd also hate to let go. Pastille laughs at that, resigned to his fate. The pair sit in comfortable silence for a while, only listening to the sound of the fountain before them. Periwinkle can start to feel himself being lulled to sleep by it, and so he tries speaking up again. I don't know what it is about you, Pastille. We've talked all day, and yet I still don't feel like it's enough. I didn't really expect to be out this late either. It just kinda happened. This was all supposed to be foreplay, wasn't it? Forgive me for putting it so bluntly. I guess it was. Pastille, we have to get back to my place so I can fuck you. You really are being so blunt right now. We have to. It's the entire purpose of foreplay, isn't it? How could you have let it go for so long? We could head back right now? Yes. You're gonna have to stand up first. In a moment. But trapped in her comfortable position on the bench, Periwinkle is unable to stand in the end. Instead, he falls asleep to the sounds of the fountain and Pastille's beating heart. Periwinkle wakes up in his bed the next morning, alone. Pastille? No response. No evidence of him either. None of his clothes laying about, no blankets out of place. I'm wearing pajamas, though I don't remember changing into them. In fact, I don't remember coming home at all. Did I fall asleep then? I vaguely remember being carried, but... He pauses. He suddenly throws the covers off himself and leaps from to bed. He truly isn't here? And he changed my clothes. Was I conscious for that? I fell asleep before we could fuck?
Huh?
Periwinkle paces around his room, desperately running through the events of the previous night. We were on our way here. We stopped to rest, but it was so comfortable that This is unheard of. This is the first time something like this has ever happened. We had such a nice day together, the perfect date, really. It should have ended with a bang. Normally it would have. We both very much wanted it to. So how could I have let myself fall asleep like that? No, there's no need to panic. I simply lost track of time. We had been walking around all day. Of course I would be worn out by the end of it. I should have accounted for that. A simple mistake. One that completely nullified all the attention I had so gradually built up. Had I gotten lost in the performance then? The romantic flourish, meant only to heighten the intensity of the passionate night to come. It's role play, pretend. The only thing genuine about it is the lust that it masks. For me to have reached a point of satisfaction before the intended finale would mean it was just a legitimate romantic date. Periwinkle stops in his tracks. He turns back towards his bed and crawls into the covers, wrapping himself up in them. Have I ever had one of those before? I mean, I certainly don't expect every date to end in a sexual encounter. Sometimes a partner just isn't ready or something comes up. It isn't even that sex is owed. No, it's that we never even reach the bedroom. That's never happened. The thought sinks in. Periwinkle slowly unwraps himself from his blanket and sits up in bed. I'm overreacting. Yes, I'm merely embarrassed that I had to be carried home and tucked into bed, to be taken care of like that. Usually I'm the one who takes care of things, and now I just feel ridiculous. Something isn't right here. There has to be an explanation. It's safe to admit at this point I am very sensitive to matters that involve Pastille. But where did that begin? It couldn't have started just the other day. Things were relatively normal, though I was seeing him quite often, more so than other partners in the past. This has progressed too far beyond casual. What could have caused this? He thinks for a moment before walking out of his bedroom with purposeful strides. Going immediately to the bookcase, he tosses a few things aside and pulls down the box of his favorite perfumes. He then carefully extracts the bottle filled with pale pink liquid. You must be the culprit. The aphrodisiac, no, love potion. I wanted to see Pastile's reaction when I called it that, an inconsequential little joke. But it's kept coming up. There must be something to it. Could the peach blossoms yesterday have further amplified its effects? Yes, it all makes sense now. Whether it's be my own magic or some kind of chain reaction with Pastile's, I've somehow, unintentionally, created a scent that invokes romantic obsession in witches. There's research to be done. I have to put an end to these artificially inspired feelings. I'll create an anti-aphrodisiac effect then, something to cancel out its effects, at which point everything will go back to normal. There's no problem at all. Convinced by his new theory, Periwinkle dresses himself and heads out to find a solution. Ooh, I'm dressing him up again. Okay. What haven't I put him in? Royal crown. I haven't put him in the crown yet. Or the fairy wings. We'll do that. I headed directly to the potion supply shop just a few blocks away. It's brimming with reference materials, though I usually only come to purchase magic containers, the vials to hold my perfumes. Navigating their shelves of spell manuals and encyclopedias, I find myself somewhat overwhelmed. But soon, the shopkeeper comes to my aid. No, I didn't mean to click that. Why didn't I save anyway? Cool. Good afternoon, Periwinkle. And what might you be looking for today? New bottles? A book? Or perhaps me? Amaretti, it's lovely to see you, but I'm strictly here for business. Playing the professional today, I see. Your loss. Few witches have ever come close to my level of flirty energy, but Amaretti is one of them. We may have fooled around at a party once or twice, but who's to say? As much as her company would be a welcome distraction, I'm afraid removing my self-inflicted curse takes priority. There is actually something you can help me with. But first, would you happen to know anything about aphrodisiacs? Aphrodisiacs, magic that sways the heart, stimulates the libido. They do end up being classified as dark magic because of their manipulative aspects, but a few popular spellbooks happen to contain instructions for consensual usage. Is that what you'd be looking for? Yes, or rather, assuming those books also contained instructions for canceling the effects. Did something go wrong in the bedroom? You can tell me. Nothing to be embarrassed about. No, it's much more complicated than that. Oh, I made them have a very similar voice, but it's okay. Which spell books did you say I could find this information in? I'd like to look through them if possible. You're lying to me, aren't you? You just want to learn these spells to spice things up in the bedroom. Not everything is related to sex, Amaretti. Love, then? No, you aren't the type. Come on, why won't you just tell me? I can't help if you won't give up any details. I want to know if whether or not aphrodisiac-induced feelings of romantic love can be nullified. The details aren't important. So it is love. Why does she insist on wasting my time? A large resounding thud comes from down the aisle, startles both Amaretti and Periwinkle. A pair turns to see a much shorter witch standing there, fuming. Ugh! If I have to listen to you ignoramuses blabble on for another second, I'm gonna lose it. There's another customer in here. How long have they been listening? First off, stop complaining aphrodisiacs and love potions. They're entirely separate categories. A witch who sells potion supplies should at least know that much. You sell a whole book about it right here. She gestures to the thick tome she had slammed onto the floor at the beginning of her outburst. So that's the one I was thinking of. You'll find everything you need to know about canceling your love spell in there, Periwinkle. No, you won't. He won't? Because it's not a freaking love spell to begin with. I find it majorly unlikely someone's been able to pull off a spell like that when I've been trying for literally years. Well, thank you. That certainly answers my question. So you're familiar with these things. I must ask, if not a love spell, could it have been a side effect of some other kind of magic? Ha! A side effect. You think it's so easy it could be tacked on just like that? Placebo effect is more like it. In which case, all you need to do is stop thinking about it and it'd go away, dumbass. Oh, really? That saves me so much trouble. Thanks for the advice. Humph! If that shopkeeper would have done her research. Witch's angry shouts fade into placated mumbles as she storms out of the shop. You handled that so well, you should work in retail. Oh, so I'm the one in need of a new career now, after that exchange? And Moretti gives a nervous laugh and steps away to return the spellbook to its proper shelf. After bidding her farewell, Periwinkle exits the store to begin his short walk home. A placebo. Of course it was just a placebo. I should have thought of it sooner. There was never any cause for alarm. This is just like before. It has nothing to do with Pastille. He just happens to be the one my mind is fixating on. It's precisely as that temperamental little witch said. If I stop thinking about him, the problem will resolve on its own. And so, I must take a few days to focus on myself. At least until I find my way out of this odd state I've ended up in. Operation Stop Thinking About Pastille, Day 1. Let's see, the ultimate distracting task would be work, of course. Perhaps I could begin with the transforming aroma I thought of yesterday. But that idea came about during our date. I should avoid any and all memories tied to him at the moment. This may prove more difficult than I anticipated. No matter, I'll just warm up with a nice bergamot scent for now. Periwinkle receives a few empty vials from his box of perfume supplies and readies his wand. But instead of the bright green drops he expected, what comes out is a familiar pale pink. Peach? That isn't right at all. He seals the model and moves on to the next, which, much to his dismay, yields the same result. Okay, magic is tied to emotions. I mustn't get frustrated. I have to focus. Deep breaths. It never helps to force it. Just imagine the desired scent and... He tries for a third time, and yet... Peach again? This is such a waste of supplies, so much for my attempted diligence. If I can't conjure other scents, I'll have to find something else to occupy my time. Housework. I can finally get some chores done around here. Nothing could possibly distract me from finishing them today. They are the distraction. That's right, I still have laundry to put away, didn't I? Periwinkle walks into his bedroom to face the pile of clothes he hadn't folded yet. Whenever I tell myself I'll get to it later, I tend to leave it for days. But the single large pile he expected wasn't there. Instead, it was split into two, with one half already neatly folded. I don't remember making this much progress. No, Pastille did this, didn't he, when he came to pick me up yesterday? Curses, he's too good. I can't touch this right now. Periwinkle covers the pile of neatly folded clothes with the rest of the unfolded ones in retaliation. There, one less reminder to worry about. Now I'm going to have to think of something to do. So far, my attempts at forgetting about Pastille have been completely futile. But that's perfectly fine. No one said it was going to be easy. Ironically, the more you tell yourself not to think of something, the more your mind will be enticed by it. I mustn't let this consume me. I have to find a way to relax. A nice bath should help calm my nerves. Later that evening, I'm feeling so refreshed I could do just about anything. I should try cooking for myself tonight. Now there's a task that'll require my full attention. Periwinkle opens up the fridge for ideas. A pint of milk, a few cups of yogurt, some eggs, whipped cream. There isn't much in the way of meals, is there? This is why I never cook. But I could try making an omelette, breakfast for dinner. Oh, what fun. Periwinkle cheerfully reaches for the eggs, then pauses. Actually, can I cook without magic? He turns to face the stove. This burner. It's the kind you'd light with a spell. I'm far too nervous my magic is going to come out smelling of peaches again. Periwinkle slams the fridge shut. Forget cooking. What was I thinking? I'm not cut out to be a chef. Pastille, on the other hand. No. Thinking of him in this delightful domestic context is especially bad. No matter how much I want to eat his cooking now, he's obviously the type to be good at it. This is depressing. I'm already right back to where I started. I'll just order takeout. Periwinkle goes to bed that night utterly incapable of forgetting about Pastille. Operation Seriously, do not think about that boy. Day 2. I've tried working. I've tried doing chores. I've even tried to cook. All miserable failures. That's why today, I'm taking drastic measures. Complete escapism. I'm returning to my roots. I'll reread one of my favorite series. If nothing else, it should make a nice source of inspiration. Periwinkle pulls out volume 1 of a certain manga from his bookshelf. Fabric of our love, how many years has it been? The dresses were always drawn so beautifully in the series. I still think of them from time to time. It's a story of a girl who's fallen for a handsome prince, standard fare for the types of manga I read. Her mother is a talented seamstress who designs all sorts of dazzling gowns for her to wear, and when the prince sees her in one, he becomes smitten with her. At first she's in heaven, this is the prince of her dreams, but she soon wonders if the prince is only attracted to the dresses, the glamour, and not the poor girl underneath. Until the prince reveals, I shouldn't spoil it, the ending is too sweet. After admiring the cover art for a while, Periwinkle finally opens the book and begins to read. Just as lovely as I remember, such delicate line work. I wouldn't blame that prince for noticing the dresses before the girl, they really are so beautiful. Come to think of it, the way this prince is drawn, his short, fluffy hair, his gentle features, remind me of... Periwinkle closes the book in a panic. That was dangerous. I can't even risk thinking his name. Ah, and there's even in a later chapter where he's dressed in servant's clothing. There are too many parallels. Periwinkle rolls across his bed and slides the book back into his place on the shelf. This isn't fair. How can one of my most beloved series be off limits in my time of need? He scans through different titles once more before landing on a 12-volume series. Can't remember this one clearly, but as an all-girls story, it should be safe. Periwinkle pulls the new book from his shelf and quietly immerses himself in the fictional world. Before I knew it, I had finished reading all 12 volumes. The whole day had flown right by. I couldn't help but keep turning the pages. The story was so much more than I remembered. The protagonist was nothing to write home about, but her childhood friend? Ah, what a moving character arc. She was very charismatic from the start, the kind of person you'd think has it all figured out, but you couldn't be more wrong. Over the course of the series, she goes through so many love interests. Back in the day, I had assumed it was because the author couldn't make up her mind. But reading it all at once, it must have been planned from the beginning. These doomed relationships are merely self-sabotage, a distraction from pursuing her one true love. She never realized the obvious answer until the very end, and what an emotional finale. And when she finally confesses, and the two girls share their first kiss. Ah, the fireworks. Could there anything be more romantic? Her tears of happiness, finally being honest with herself and her best friend. How lovely! The well of loneliness that is her character was portrayed so flawlessly. She is the most real of them all. Ending the story any other way would have been an injustice. She deserves the world. I own this author's follow-up series as well, there, don't I? Time to get some snacks and start searching for it. I can't resist diving in right away. Operation Escape Reality, Day 3. Periwinkle continued to read. And read. And read. Until he heard a knock at his door. Bastille? No, that isn't his knock. Ah, wait, I was trying to forget about him. Though I suppose it means I was successful for a while. I even forget that I was avoiding something to begin with. When he opens the door, Periwinkle is greeted by a small crowd of friends and acquaintances. Himbo Witch. I love Himbo Witch. Periwinkle, get dressed. We're hitting the clubs. Ah, the whole cavalry's arrived. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to decline. Tonight isn't going to work for me. What? But no one's seen you in ages. You've abandoned us for a new scene, have you? Oh, nothing of that. I've just been a little preoccupied. I'm taking some time to myself at the moment. Nothing wrong with a little self-care, but are you sure you don't want to come out and enjoy the nightlife? Ah, well, I don't know. I've fallen so behind on my work. Choosing work over getting laid? Now I know something's up with you. How offensive. I have more going on than just going out and flirting with everyone I meet. Of course, of course. I do appreciate the invitation, though. Thank you for thinking of me. We just had to come and make sure you were still alive. The clubs are lonely without you. I'll have to make my grand return some other time, then. Have a lovely evening. The group waves goodbye and disappears into the night. It's been a while since I've had to turn them down. Periwinkle leans his back against the door and sighs. I'm definitely not in any state to go clubbing right now. No matter how much it warms my heart to know that I'm missed, I won't be making the same mistake as the other night. I can't go recklessly diving into the comforting arms of another as long as my mind is still hung up on Bastille. But how long will I remain in this state? Shutting myself away, binge reading comics? Those were emergency measures. I can't afford the outside world forever. In any case, shouldn't Bastille be returning here at some point? From where we left off, I had expected him to come knocking as soon as possible. And yet, it's been 3 full days now, hasn't it? How long could he possibly abstain from my touch? Or is something wrong? I shouldn't be thinking about any of this, but I'm beginning to feel annoyed, confused. If he never comes back, I suppose my problem will go away on its own. But I hate the thought of that. As things are now, I'd only be haunted by thoughts of what I possibly could have done wrong. What is my plan, then? Continue to ping-pong back and forth between these extreme emotional states? He rubs his eyes with exhaustion. I'll worry about this tomorrow. Periwinkle steps back in his room and tucks himself into bed with his books. But an hour later, another knock comes. This time, the pattern is unmistakable. Pastilla's here. Well, so he's come after all. Despite all my hard work of trying to forget, I've actually been waiting for this moment, haven't I? I don't care what these feelings might mean anymore. I'm tired of fighting them. I just want Pastille. He opens the door, and sure enough, Pastille's the one he finds standing there. Hi! Why, good evening, and what could you have possibly come for at this hour? To, pick up where we left the other night, maybe? It's about time. Come in. I'm sorry, I meant to come see you again sooner. I had a few things to sort out before I... Hush now, that's not where we left it all, was it? Yeah, I guess not. I'm more interested in how you got me home that night. You see, the last thing I remember is sitting on that bench. Oh, well, I was having a hard time waking you up, so I just ended up carrying you. The whole way by yourself. I mean, I have a broom to ride that helped a lot. Periwinkle closes in. We rode it together then. That was the easiest way, yes? You must have held me close so I wouldn't fall. I did. Putting your hands all over me. I didn't feel you up while you were unconscious. He gives him a big kiss. I was only kidding. But you also changed my clothes. Because I thought you'd be more comfortable that way. It was an innocent gesture. I can't believe you saw my bare chest. I've already seen it. Yeah. Pastille suddenly lifts him by the waist and hoists him over his shoulder. Pastille? Please handle me more delicately. When they reach the bed, Pastille falls backwards onto it, taking Periwinkle with him. Oh. They pause there a moment, laughs fading into soft breaths. You forgot to turn the light off. Well, I can't get up now. How can you be so impatient after making me wait for so long? Oh well. I awake to a rustling sound. My bed is empty again, but when I roll over, Pastille is there, standing in front of my closet. I sit up, rubbing the sleep from my eyes. He's holding a box. As he lifts it onto the top shelf, its contents shift, making a clattering noise. Utterly confused as to what he's doing, I faintly call out to him. Pastille? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to break anything, I promise. What are you doing in my closet? You said I could clean up. Oh, is there anything I won't agree to in my sleep? I am sorry, I thought you were awake when I asked. I'll stop. It's fine, I just didn't expect to wake up to you rifling through my things. That really wasn't my intention, I just felt like organizing stuff. What do people normally do in the morning after? I guess I should have made breakfast. Oh, I want to eat pancakes. Great, I'll make some. Pastille practically bolts from the room to get started on cooking. Oh, Pastille. Looking around the room, he did much more than organize my closet. The books I'd been reading were all tucked back into their proper places on the bookshelf. The clothes had been strewn across the floor, or otherwise left hanging in ridiculous places, and now sat in the hamper waiting to be washed. Even the pile of unfolded laundry I had previously abandoned was now absent, properly folded and placed into the appropriate drawers by Pastille. In a word, I'm in awe. How long had he been at this? And all while I slept? It shouldn't even been possible. I just have so much more floor space than I remembered. How did he manage to do that? Periwinkle puts on a fresh pair of pajamas and walks out to the kitchen in a daze. Hey, pancakes are ready. Oh, is it too soon to say I love you? Please enjoy. Periwinkle takes his seat at the table and digs in. They're delicious, perfectly light and fluffy, the optimal amount of syrup and whipped cream. Every bite is so heavenly I could cry. I've never felt so emotional over food. What has this boy done to me? I was right about him being the culinary type. I didn't think I would get to try his cooking so soon. This is a surprise attack. He even... how did those get there? I have to ask. Pastille, where did you get these strawberries? Oh, I saw you had some jam, so I used a little magic to change its form. Is that okay? Maybe I should have asked first. I just remember you like strawberries, so is there any limit how thoughtful one can be? It's more than okay. This is the best breakfast I've ever had. I'm sure you're exaggerating. They're just pancakes. Careful, my sweet. If you say it like that, I'm going to start asking you to cook my every meal. Fine, you got me. They're special gourmet pancakes I can only whip up every once in a while. Lucky me. Periwinkle finishes his breakfast while Pastille begins washing the dishes. This may just be the most spoiled I've ever felt. Being with Pastille is like being caught in an endless whirlwind of positive feelings. No wonder I've become obsessed with him. This boy is dangerously kind. After these past few emotionally tumultuous days, how could I possibly turn away from his comfort? Periwinkle rests his elbows on the table, head tilted into his palm as he watched Pastille in his kitchen. Out of curiosity, earlier, before I woke up, what made you ask to start cleaning my room? Well, I noticed it was getting harder to walk around. I think I stepped on some of your clothes when I carried you in there last night. Sorry. There's nothing to apologize for. It was fun. Anyway, I felt a little bad about it, so I figured if I'm gonna be coming back here so often, I might as well help clean. I'm not getting my head off myself, am I? Sorry, I didn't mean... Not at all! Silly Pastille. You're always welcome here. Oh, well, thank you. Fine. Okay, enough, I'll admit it. I'm stupidly, desperately, absolutely, ridiculously in love with Pastille. There, I said it. Or at least I'm saying it to myself. I'll accept this. Pastille is incredible. Who wouldn't fall for him? I don't want anyone else anymore. I've been poisoned by this perfect boy. The problem now is what to do about it. Weird question, but would you want to, date you? Yes. Clean the rest of your house together? It'll be more fun than it sounds, and if you get bored, we can do something else. Pastille. I just thought if we did it together, you'd get a say in where everything goes so nothing ends up getting lost. Pastille. And it's totally fine if you don't want me to go through your stuff anymore. We really don't have to. Pastille, it's fine. I think it's a lovely idea. Really? Yes. In fact, I appreciate your help. One thing or another has always come up when I try to clean on my own. I'm simply useless at it. Then I'll take the lead. I want to start with these boxes by the couch. Pastille already had a plan for everything, it seemed. His energy was contagious. He was right that it would be fun. It was entertaining even just watching him go. To see him dart around the room so energetically, finding the perfect place for every little thing. He truly has a talent for organization. Meanwhile, I mostly played the role of assistant. He would ask for my input every now and then, or instruct me to place something he found somewhere across the room. He made little decisions like that so easily. If it were me, I'd get stuck on every one. But he saw everything through, effortlessly. It was nothing short of amazing. And so, in a few short hours, the entire house had become neat and tidy. I think I'm satisfied. You? Don't you think you deserve to be rewarded for all your hard work? I should have seen that one coming. But no, not right now. I should actually get going. You won't stay? I promised I'd be back for the afternoon shift. She'll start to worry if I don't come back soon. I'll save your reward for next time, then. Pastille slips on his jacket and shoes. Just before he leaves, he turns back to face Periwinkle. By the way, I was thinking, yes, there are some days my friends travel out of town for alchemy stuff. So if you ever wanted to drop by while I'm working on those days, I think that'd be okay. That's the most I can do right now. Sorry. I'll gladly take you up on that. I'd love to keep you company. Great. Okay, then. Pastille gives him a quick peck on the cheek before saying goodbye and walking out the door. What was all of that? It was extremely domestic. I can't be imagining things, can I? He said it was okay to come and visit him? That has to mean something, doesn't it? Periwinkle begins pacing around the room. Now, let's not get carried away. This is a delicate situation. Dropping these intense feelings onto him out of nowhere may only serve to scare him off. Neither of us were looking for a committed relationship from the beginning. That was made explicitly clear early on. And yet, he isn't playing fair. My heart can't take this. Periwinkle throws himself onto the couch dramatically. There's no way I'll be able to stop thinking of him now. Even being at home has become a reminder in and of itself. Everything is nice become of him, and now I'm suffering. This is simply too much. There has to be a way for me to safely indulge in these romantic feelings. Things are fine as they are, progressing even. If I just let it run its natural course, then maybe we'll end up... what do I want out of this? To be with him forever? Me? I haven't had a single healthy long-term relationship in my entire life. Love isn't in the cards for someone like me. I can't even recognize myself right now. Calm down. I'm overreacting again. Nothing has effectively changed just yet. I can't keep fighting myself on this. I'm in love with Pastille, no matter what it entails. That's the reality. He still isn't quite ready for me to meet his friends, which means there isn't any room to advance further at the moment. I have to be patient. At the very least, I hope accepting all this lets my magic return to normal. I need a nap. And so, over the next few weeks, Periwinkle would come by to the Atelier Suites to spend time with Pastille. Let's go simple this time. He always stood there so sweetly behind the counter. And then I would waltz in, pretending to be just another customer, browsing the aisles before meandering over to him. Others would stop by every now and again, but there was ample time in which I had him completely to myself. That's when I'd take the opportunity to chat. This place smells just like you, my sweet. I think it's the other way around. Do I smell like candy or something? Why else do you think I want to eat you up? Please don't say things like that when there are customers here. Customers? I don't see anyone. I know, I mean, just in general. You don't want to get turned on at work? That's not allowed! Our exchanges were mostly innocent, unlike other partners I've paid visits to in the past. He was very adamant about not fooling around at work. Not that it ever stopped me from teasing him about it. Periwinkle watches as Pastille, armed with a rag and a bottle of cleaner, sprays down the counter in front of him. I think I underestimated your love for cleaning. Are you making fun of me? This is my job, you know. Oh, should I have paid you when you cleaned my house? I'll send you an invoice. Could I pay you in kisses? That's hard to turn down, actually. It was fun seeing him hard at work. The only side of him most people would ever be aware of. They'll never know the lust bubbling beneath the surface, his nervous, vulnerable laughter when I've said something he wanted to hear, his gentle touch, the way he can take my hand so casually, and yet becomes a stuttering mess as soon as I lean over him. His sense of humor, his sincerity, his quirks, his genuine desire to always prove the exact perfect thing to make me smile. No, the depths of Pastille were reserved for me alone. Welcome to Atelier Suites. Periwinkle gives a little twirl and winks to Pastille, who's trying his best to stifle his laughter. So how's that? Do you think it suits me? Not in the slightest. You're too elegant for a place like this. I can be cute too, can't I? You are, but you're gonna need more than that on your resume if you want the job. What do you mean I can't get in through nepotism alone? It looks like you already have a successful career in another field. You're overqualified, so I'm gonna have to turn you down. You're right. Besides, if you were my boss, we'd probably have to stop fucking. Perry! I truly, truly love him. Even the days we'd talk about nothing at all, I wouldn't give up for the world. And the days he would open up to me, even more so. I can be really frustrating sometimes. But she's my best friend. I still care about her, even when she messes up. She's lucky to have you. Yeah, she really is. Anyone else would have given up on her by now. For years, she would just lock herself in her lab, making all this candy, bragging about how cool her alchemy is compared to magic. She barely ever talked to anyone else, and when she did, it was to berate them over something. Who treats their own customers like that? Who do you think pays for the roof over our heads? Sorry, I don't want to give you a bad impression of her. She's gotten much better recently. It sounds complicated. At least your patience is paying off, Yeah, seems like it. At one point, it was kind of up to a coin toss on whether I'd stay or go. A coin toss? How extreme. Not literally. It was more like whether or not she could prove she actually felt empathy. Anyway, it turns out she's not a complete monster, so here I am. Sorry, I'm still giving you a bad impression of her, aren't I? You can just disregard everything I said. Saya's great. I believe you. She must be, if you've put up with so much from her. Yeah. I treasured every moment I got to spend with Pastille. Even without a label on what exactly our relationship was, I could enjoy myself all the same. In truth, I was only biding my time, but it didn't really feel like that at all. Just being near him was enough. One day, he finally asked it, the question I'd been waiting to hear. Do you want to meet my friends? Well, yes, but are you sure? No, but it feels stupid to keep avoiding it. I started worrying it'd happen on accident one of these days. I don't think I would survive that, so we should just go, before I change my mind. Right now? Yes, come on. Bastille takes Periwinkle by the hand, and the pair hastily makes their way to Attila Sweets. Slightly out of breath, Bastille stops just before they reach their destination. Okay, give me a minute. After we rushed all the way here, don't back down now, my sweet. I know, I'm preparing, mentally. Never done this before. I know it'll be fine. Take your time. We'll go in when you're ready. Okay, I don't think I'm only getting more nervous standing out here thinking about it. Let's just go in. After you. The meeting itself was nothing memorable. Gumdrop was incredibly human, for a golem made out of candy. Syrup was just about what I expected, curt but also warm. For all its build-up, the interaction itself was anticlimactic. Quick exchange of pleasantries before the candy alchemist headed her golem back downstairs. It didn't feel weird. Had I acted normal, come across as my usual self? It had only just happened, but it's already a blur. I held Pastille's hand in the end. I remember that. He had been so nervous I could practically hear his heart beating out of his chest. I hadn't understood just how stressful it would be for him. I felt guilty at having put him through it, although the idea was his to begin with. He decided to go through that for himself, or for me. This seemingly mundane interaction that meant so much more for the both of us. Pastille? Sorry, I'm okay. I feel stupid having made such a big deal out of it. Of course it all turned out just fine. It was important to you. We all get worked up over things we care about, don't we? Are you including yourself in that? You always seem to have it together. Or am I hiding it that well? Anyway, we can go. How is he going to react when he discovers what a mess I've been? Bastille walks me home and promises to return later tonight. Things will move forward from there, won't they? Or is it too soon? Maybe it's too much for one day. I don't want to add to his stress. Why is this so difficult? His perception of me could be completely destroyed, tarnished. But that's a risk worth taking, isn't it? That night, Periwinkle laid on the floor of in the middle of his living room and waited. I'd expect this night to come eventually, and yet I still don't feel any more prepared for it. Periwinkle idly taps his wand to one of the candles on the table. Still peachy, the curse has not yet lifted. Bastille's knock finally comes, and Periwinkle rises to answer. Oh, it smells nice in here. Is that your magic? You like it? It's my latest specialty. Oh, what a treat. Have you eaten yet? I could make us a special dinner. Oh, what's the occasion? Celebrating the fact nothing went horribly wrong today. I brought a few things. If I could just borrow your stove. By all means. I once again found myself in the excruciating domestic situation of watching Bastille prepare a meal in my kitchen. There's no way he doesn't realize it, right? Though we've been acting as a couple for a long time now. Just that neither of us have bothered to address it. Shouldn't it be properly acknowledged? Bastille chats with me as he cooks, but I'm admittedly distracted by these thoughts. Perhaps putting a name to it would only cause it to unravel. Currently, there's no expectation. We're free to see whoever else we like. Though it doesn't seem either of us are doing that. Bastille approaches the table where Periwinkle sits, holding a plate in each hand. Ta-da! Pasta's ready. Oh, bon appetit! Maybe he's already decided we're a couple, and I'm just obsessing over formalities. What does it matter, so long as the two of us are happy? And I really am happy. His cooking tastes wonderful. Perry, you okay? Yes? You were being so quiet, I started to worry that I messed up our dinner somehow. No, it's delicious. I was just lost in the pasta is all. Forgive me, I didn't mean to worry you. I need to get out of my own head. Bastille's here in front of me, and I'm too distracted to savor it. I forget my doubts. We'll just have to see where the night takes us. Periwinkle takes his plate up to the sink and begins to wash up. I can take care of that. Nonsense. You just cooked us dinner. It's your turn to relax, my sweet. Are you sure I can't help? I wouldn't mind at all. You can help by bringing me your plate when you're finished. Okay. Pastille does as he's told, then wanders over to the couch. Hey, if you have anyone you want me to introduce me to, I'd be happy to meet them. Return the favor sort of thing. I know it can be awkward though, so if not, that's okay too. No one comes to mind. Sure, I know a lot of people, but I couldn't say I'm particularly close with any of them. Except maybe one, but you've already met my business partner. Ah, at the apothecary, right? Precisely. What's with that look? Oh, nothing. I just don't know what to say now. You've expected someone as charismatic as me to have all sorts of new people to introduce you to, then? I guess so. I'm just surprised. I really like being around you, so I expected that'd be true for your other friends, too. I'd say you're probably the closest I've ever been with someone. Literally speaking. They laugh together, then fall into a comfortable silence. With their heads leaned together, Periwinkle nuzzles his face into Pastille's shoulder affectionately. After a few moments, Pastille asks, Do you want to get in bed? For sleep or for pleasure? That's up to you. Periwinkle stands, then turns around to take Pastille's hands. Come then. He leads them into the bedroom, closing the door behind them. When he does, Pastille speaks up again. You know, I'm still finding it hard to believe there's no one else you're close to. 2 is a reasonable number. You had 2 friends as well, did you not? Syrup and Gumdrop. Fair point, but counting you makes 3. You have me beat. Perhaps I should try harder to keep up. Periwinkle collapses into bed, while Pastille sits down beside him. I think I've preferred it, though, keeping a healthy distance from others. Really? How come? The alternative has been disastrous in my experience. I'm far too intense. What do you mean by that? Goodness, my best example is the worst one. In my teenage years, there was a boy I would have done anything for. I wanted his approval so badly. I wanted to be loved. It's funny, I can't even think of what drew me to him. I suppose he was just a vessel to project onto, an idealized boyfriend, this shortcut to happiness. Poor guy, he didn't know what to do with the torrent of feelings I'd been forcing onto him. We were young. A love like that is much too painful, if it can even be called love. It took some practice to be able to separate the emotions out, to be able to indulge in the romantic and the sexual energy I craved while protecting my fragile heart. But ever since I figured it out, I've gotten to experience all sorts of love through these casual flings. It's perfect for me, the ideal life, really. Don't listen to me, Pastille. I don't know if your heart is as fragile as you think. You don't believe me? Despite what it seems, I have the heart of an innocent maiden. I don't know about innocent, but... Pastille leans forward and lays his head on Periwinkle's chest. Sounds pretty strong to me. It's beating harder now. Because you suddenly embraced me. See, this is what I mean by fragile. Periwinkle struggles out from under him, and the pair sits facing each other on the bed. You know, at first, I thought romantic stuff was just a formality to you. But you actually love it, huh? Are you only realizing that now? I guess not. What are you trying to say, Pastille? That it's okay for me to love you? That I'll be safe? Then hurry up and kiss me. Okay. Sorry to keep you waiting. Pastille closes the distance between them. I'm too weak. The words won't come out. As they kiss, Periwinkle becomes more and more entangled in his thoughts. It hurts. I want to be even closer. He lets himself fall backward, bringing Pastille down with him. This isn't nearly enough to satisfy me. Just please don't stop. Periwinkle's heart cried out, his jumbled emotions caught in his throat, manifesting through his hands, clinging desperately to Pastille, who continued to kiss him and hold him through the night. Next morning, Periwinkle steps out onto his doorstep with a heavy sigh. If I lay around in bed all day, I'll only feel more miserable. Ooh, a new outfit I haven't seen. I need to stop avoiding my work. I have to talk to Astragalus. She isn't going to be pleased with me, though. Holding his mantle tightly, he makes his way to the apothecary. When he arrives, Astragalus is preoccupied with arranging some of her merchandise. She turns abruptly at the unexpected sound of the door's chime. Hey, we're not open yet. Periwinkle? Good morning, Astragalus. I haven't seen you all month. I barely recognized you under that hood. I was about to come and knock on your damn door if you didn't show her face soon. We've got a huge backlog of orders waiting. I can't take them. My magic is useless. What do you mean, useless? Periwinkle meekly hands over one of his pale pink vials. This is all I can make. It's been this way for ages. Let's see. Unscrews the top and eyes Periwinkle suspiciously before giving it a whiff. Phew, that's powerful. Not bad, though. Warms you right up. Could stand to be diluted a little just to make it a less overwhelming. So what's got you stuck on a scent like this? It's Bessie. He ruined me. I'll never be able to return the way I was before. I see. So things got complicated, just like I warned you. Mm-hmm. I love him so much, I think I might die. Come on, back room now. Periwinkle nods and obediently follows Astragalus into a private office. He quickly takes in his surroundings before she suddenly turns to himself with a raised finger. Don't touch anything. Astragalus drags a beanbag chair out from the corner and plops it in the middle of the room unceremoniously. Sit. It's dusty. You're such a diva. She gives it a couple good smacks, beating the dust into the air instead. Now sit. Very well. He complies, and Astragalus spins her office chair around to face him. All right, Periwinkle, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna brew us up some tea, and you're gonna explain everything from the beginning. Explain what? About past you, even the stuff I already know. Everything, from the top. Everything? Skip the bedroom details, obviously. Just walk me through everything important that happened since you met. I don't want to. Reliving things is all going to make things worse. Astragalus sounds and walks over to her kettle to start the tea. All right, you lovesick dolt. You want to know exactly why your magic's been stuck like that? It's because you don't have an outlet for all those emotions. Instead, you keep bottling them up. Literally, I guess. It's all that comes out before it's all there is inside you. So let it all out. What, you think I'm going to judge you? No, I don't know. Would you rather spill it all to him instead? I can't, it's too much. Then tell it to me, a neutral third party. Actually, I can't say I'm neutral. I'd need to find a new supplier if you couldn't fill my orders anymore. I do feel a little more at ease imagining this is all a business matter to you. Then think of it like that. Astragalus pours their tea and returns to her seat with 2 mugs in hand. With a heavy sigh, Periwinkle finally relents and begins his story. I told her everything I could think of. My first impressions of him, how he continually subverted my expectations, my mistakes, appearing where I shouldn't have, then going into a desperate spiral as I tried to rid myself of the guilt over it, how he was the one to come to apologize afterward. Our day, which was so wonderful, but which also laid bare the feelings I was too afraid to acknowledge. How I latched on to any alternative explanation I could in order to escape them. The moment I could finally admit it to myself, all the ways he changed my life for the better. How he grew closer and closer while I held those feelings tighter to my chest. I told her how he'd finally worked up the courage to introduce me to his friends. His hand trembled in mine as we walked out the door together. This point of contention, a far-off goal I had decided would have to be met before advancing. Everything, up to the state I am in now, useless, paralyzed, and sobbing. Astragalus listened patiently through all of it. She asked questions from time to time, clarification on the time frame, certain details. Her reaffirming confidence offered such comfort, such relief to the pain I'd kept confined to my own heart, until finally I had nothing left to say. Astragalus sits back in her chair and heaves a sigh. So, how you feeling? There's certain clarity in laying it all out at once, but I still don't know what else I can do to push things forward. Could I even handle the rejection? He won't reject you. What makes you so certain? That boy is madly in love with you. Why else would he devote all that time and energy to making you happy? Because I'm great in bed, obviously. Quit deflecting. You know that's all not all that is. I don't want to leave any room for doubt. If I were to confess now and it didn't go well, I'd be destroyed beyond repair. That's why, if I'm going to say it, I want it to be a sure thing. Life isn't about sure things. Even so, I'm going to wait for the opportune moment before exposing my vulnerable heart. As long as you've got a plan. Astragalus leans down and picks up Periwinkle's empty mug and holds it out in front of him. Try your magic again. Whatever scent you want, just pour it right in the cup. Periwinkle nervously draws his wand, holds it out to the cup, and closes his eyes and taps. Is it chamomile? It isn't peach. I'm cured. Yeah, dumbass, did you forget this is an apothecary? It is, isn't it? Next time you've got a problem with your magic, don't sit around crying about it on your own. Come straight to me, and I'll fix you up. Thank you. I'm truly glad that we're friends. I would be lost without you. Business associates, don't forget I've got loads of orders for you now that you're back to normal. I'll go home and fill them right away, but first, may I hug you? Not a chance. It was worth a shot. You'll accept my platonic affection one day. Yeah, get out of my office, Periwinkle. The pair exits the back room, but they're only made it a few steps before Periwinkle turns on his heel. One more thing before I go. What's up? I've been curious to ask. The last time I was here, you told me that magic can be interpreted as a judge of one's character. All right, when I changed my mind about Pastille. Yes, precisely. It's rather impressive that you could see through to his true nature, despite having only just met. Sure, but he was easy to read. Don't be too impressed. Well, what? What does my magic say about me? I'm dying to know. Your magic was always lively and carefree, compassionate too, like Pastille's. How can you possibly read something like that? Hey, I'm just telling you the vibes I've gotten over the years. Your aromas prioritize pleasure, but there is always a hint of loneliness in them too. Alright, now I know you're making things up. I've always had something to keep me company. Just because you've always got someone around doesn't mean you can't be lonely. And I suppose someone like you would know a thing or two about loneliness, I'm not lonely at all. In fact, I prefer to be alone. You, on the other hand, can't stand it even for a second. That's why you'd always run off chasing someone to fill the void. Well, that certainly isn't true. Peach stuff you gave me earlier was pure loneliness. It was crying out like, Peach, no, please, Pastel, never leave me. This isn't fun anymore. Forget I asked. Sorry, couldn't resist. I suppose you're right, though. I haven't been able to tell him that in words. I can't keep holding back. He has to know, no matter the outcome. Good luck, okay? I'm sure it'll turn out just fine. Yes, it likely will. Thank you again. I'm truly grateful for all that you've done for me. Stragglers waves him off, and Periwinkle leaves the apothecary with new resolve. I spend the next several days catching up on my work. Magic truly does come so easily with a clear mind. If only I'd swallowed my pride sooner. I completed batch after batch almost effortlessly, going down the long checklist Astragalus had given me. I hadn't even felt tired by the end of it, as if all this energy had been stored up inside me all along. It was a relief to return to somewhat normalcy. Thinking of Pastille no longer caused my heart to ache, at least not enough to put me in a state of total despondence. Instead, those thoughts served as motivation. The way forward was clear. I would tell him how I felt, and surely things would turn out just fine. Following night, Pastille shows up on Periwinkle's doorstep. Get dressed. I want to take you somewhere. Oh, and where exactly am I being whisked away to? You'll see. Wear comfortable shoes, okay? How mysterious. Very well. I'll be ready momentarily. This is it. The dramatic confession scene is upon us. I have to look my best, for good luck, of course, and for confidence. Okay, so the final outfit. This should be the final outfit. Let's just go back to the cat. I like that. We started the cat, we ended the cat. Everything and anything is cat. It's best. Hand in hand, the pair makes their way to the train station. I had been planning something while I was sequestered away with my work. Pastille is always so full of surprises. How positively delightful. I hope I didn't interrupt any plans you had for the night. Oh, not at all. It was about time I got out of the house again. I've actually been very productive past several days, toiling away over my perfumes. I thought that might be the case, since you hadn't dropped by in a while. Did you miss me? Well... Periwinkle hugs Pastille's arm tightly as they continue their walk. I missed you too. With Pastille and I step off the train, we're greeted by grassy fields and a sky full of luminous stars. Just where had he taken me? A trail of lantern lights the lone paths forward. Pastille takes the lead. It's a bit of a walk from here, but I promise it'll be worth it. A long walk, Couldn't we take a ride on your broom together? Nah, defeat the purpose. It'll feel more rewarding getting there on foot. Fair enough. Tragic, though, that you'd willingly pass on an opportunity for me to cling to you. We can fly back on the way if you want. Pastille offers his hand again, which Periwinkle takes with a smile. Tell me more about your relationship with magic. What do you mean? It was the same when we cleaned my house together. You insisted on doing things manually. Not that I minded at all, seeing you lift so many heavy things was a treat in of itself. Well, ever since I was young, it was clear I was, ridiculously talented, as they put it. My moms wanted me to be a traditional witch. They enrolled me in one of the top schools so I could learn from the best. It was an all-squirrel school, though. Guess I was young enough that no one realized I was a boy. I really didn't belong there, on any level. But I kept at it as long as I could, just enough to keep my parents happy, until I could go out and live on my own. I still don't understand exactly why, but I always felt uncomfortable losing my magic. It felt like cheating, like this kind of power shouldn't come so easily. So I thought so too. I guess that's why I latched onto her when we met. She used to really hate magic, which worked out perfectly for me. It was a good excuse to pretend to be a regular human like her. So that's what I did for the past 7 years. 7 years? That's quite a long time. Yeah, but there was a lot to distract me back then. It took a while to get Atelier Suites up and running. And Sai did eventually find out. I thought she'd disown me when she did, but instead, she told me I shouldn't have hid it, even though I doubt we would have become friends if I told her from the beginning. Quite impossible to please, You have no idea. But ever since she said that, I've been able to start embracing magic again, on my terms. I'm beginning to grasp why you value her so highly. I'm sorry that I just keep talking about myself. Don't apologize, I'm the one who asked. Besides, I'm content to listen. Say as much as you like. Thanks. Periwinkle gives Pastille's hand a reassuring squeeze. I love him. I have to find the right moment to tell him that. Should it be now, during this romantic walk? But he still has yet to reveal our destination. What do you have in store for me, Pastille? I think I might be used to it, how Sai is. She's usually so preoccupied with her own stuff. So it's nice having someone who actually wants to listen to me. That makes her sound like such a horrible friend. She's really not. You certainly haven't made a convincing case for her. I know, but that wasn't the point I was trying to make. Oh? I really... Yes? Let me start over. Pastille takes a deep breath before continuing. Going back to what we were talking about before, with my magic and everything. I think I have trouble accepting myself for what I am. I tend to hide things, even when I don't need to. Being with you feels like it's better not to hide, like I'm just allowed to just be. Or more like celebrated for being. I don't know, that feels weird to say. You can stop me if I'm being too much. It's because I love you, why can't I just say that? Oh, we're here. We are? We came up over the hill. The fatness stuff of the night sky overwhelmed me. But more than that, the field of small blue flowers that stretched as far as the eye could see matched it so perfectly. Pastille! They're periwinkles. When I looked up where to find some, I found out about this place. Apparently it's a famous date spot. I thought you'd like to see it, so... I shouldn't have told you I'm weak to romance, Pastille. A glint catches in Periwinkle's eye, and he looks up to notice a meteor shower has begun. Oh good, it started just in time. You planned this too? Well, I knew this was supposed to be happening tonight, so... Pastille! Periwinkle tackles Pastille to the ground, landing them in the field of flowers. This is perfect. I don't know what else to say. I'm speechless. I guess I went a little overboard. A little? This is the most romantic thing anyone has ever done for me. He buries his face in Pastille's chest, holding him close. Well, there's actually one more thing I wanted to say. You can feel Pastille's heart pounding. Where do I start? You know how Sai and Gundrop are really important to me? I always thought that I needed to keep myself available for them, to take care of the store and everything. But in practice, that just meant I never really took any time for myself. Like, my own needs were something I could just bury, and it would be fine because it's for their sake. I guess that's part of why I'd go out with random guys in secret. It's something just for me, totally detached from everything else. I tried having a real relationship once. It didn't work out, obviously. I never told Sai about him. But that made me think that I was right to continue on the way I'd been, since I wasn't willing to let my priorities shift. Periwinkle grabs Pastile's cloak a little tighter. What are you saying? I guess on that with you, I don't mind it as much. He's going to beat me to it at this rate. I can't let that happen. Periwinkle suddenly rolls himself on top of Pastile, pinning him down. Periwinkle, Pastile, I'm in love with you. What? Since when? I don't know. Maybe this whole time. I only admitted to myself that morning you made me pancakes. That's what it took? Why? How long have you felt this way? Since having to carry you home after spending the day together? I think that's when I first realized it. Then why didn't you say something? I've been suffering in silence this entire time. I thought you wanted to keep it casual. We saw each other almost every day. How is that casual? But you never acted any differently, and I was busy sorting through my own feelings anyway. So was I. But that's no excuse for how long you kept me waiting. I won't forgive you. What? Why are you smiling like that? It's cute, seeing you all worked up like this. Periwinkle struggles to his feet and begins stomping away. You could have saved me a lot of heartache, you know. Pastile sits up, straightening out his cloak and retrieving his hat. Where are you going? Come back. No, I'm too upset. Perry, I was convinced that I'd cursed myself with some kind of love potion. My fake aphrodisiac turned real. What in the world? Because we didn't fuck that day. Fucking was supposed to be the entire point of it. Perry! Everything spiraled out of control since then. I couldn't stop thinking about you. You broke my magic for weeks upon weeks. All I could conjure was that stupid peach blossom scent. Oh, really? Yes, until just the other day, which I spent crying in the dusty back room of the apothecary, telling Astragalus all about it. After all that, everything I spent so long preparing my heart for, you have the nerve to try to confess first? I'm sorry. Don't apologize. I already said I won't forgive you. What do you want me to do then? I don't know. Fucking kiss me if you love me so much. Pastile approaches, gently raising a hand to Periwinkle's cheek, and does exactly as he is told. I love you. Periwinkle's heart skips a beat. I love you too. He hugs Pastile tightly, careful not to knock him over this time. It takes everything I've got to keep myself from bursting into tears. I won't ruin my makeup on this perfect date. This beautiful place that Pastile chose just for us. I can't have any memory of this perfect night obscured by tears. It looks like the meteor shower is over. Take me home. Are you still mad at me? I'm not mad at you. I've never seen you like this. I just don't know how else I should interpret it. I'm overwhelmed, elated, relieved, and frustrated. I want to get in bed so you can hold me close all night. I don't think I'll be convinced that this was real unless you do that, so please? That sounds really nice. Okay, if it's to convince you, I guess I have no choice. Oh, so cute. I got chills from that. That's so good. It was a little longer than I thought it would be, but I'm gonna listen to this song for a bit. Thank you for reading Starry Flowers, a beautiful memoir detailing my first experience with true love. As a reward for finishing the story, you may now access the extra scenes and bonus chapters, along with a lovely image gallery. Memoir? Perry, how detailed is this? Don't worry, my sweet. I've kindly skipped over all the sex scenes, so you have nothing to be embarrassed about. The stuff leading up to those is still embarrassing. How much did you leave in? Oh, it doesn't matter. This isn't canon, merely an excuse to speak directly to the reader. I would never reveal such private details about you, such as your fetishes, without your explicit consent. That's enough. End the scene. Please enjoy the bonus material. Thanks again. Yeah, let's look at those extras. Oh, that's a lot. Art gallery. Oh, it's all this stuff. Okay, it's the artwork depending on which shape it was in there. That's a cool way to organize it. All the music too. Accessorize. All the same accessories. Still really cute. Extra scenes. I don't know how long those are. I don't know how. Say it again. I love you. Okay. I love all of this, and I want to read that bonus content, but it's been really long today already. I'm a little tired. So we might pick up on the extra content next time, or I might just make a video on it and post that separately. Either way, I hope you had a good time watching this. I had a really good time. That was really cute and really wholesome and super good. I got a little bit anxious that first almost sexy because I'm like, how much are they going to show? But no, it was fine. It was great. This is a very good theme. I really like this creator. I'll definitely do more of their stuff later. And thank you for being here. Hope you have a good day.